everything I wanted to see. California, we can be together when the sun goes down. You can be the hot potato, I'll be the onion man. California, we can be together.
Welcome to the IDP Show. I'm your host, Josh Raymer, joined in the Sode Shack tonight. On my right, Adam Markham. On my left, Bobby Reynolds. Gentlemen, how are we this evening?
Doing very well, Josh. How are you fellas doing?
Fantastic.
Fantastic, Bobo. It's good to see you, man. Addie, good to see you. Feel like it's been a little bit.
Been a little bit.
Been a little bit since we got to do a Sode together. This is
Yeah.
nice.
It's very nice. Missed you fellas.
I know. It's warm in the Sode
You
Shack.
guys are looking good.
We are looking good. You're looking very good because you got the brand new
Got the drip on underneath.
IDP show. I'll give you the camera so you can show the
Take off my clothes here.
yeah,
Look at that.
show the
I don't know
viewers
if you can see that
your
front
camera.
right.
Yeah, right there.
See-
Look
see
at
the
that.
back? I don't know, I can't. It's
You
too
can't.
much.
It's
Maybe
too
later.
much.
Maybe
It's
later.
just hit up our Twitter. Check out the Twitter. We've got the shirts up there for sale. They're looking good. Addie, you worked with the designer to get those things cranked out, and they look amazing.
They're awesome. That's what we do. And if we're gonna put anything out there, we're gonna make sure it looks good, feel good, be good quality. That's just kind of what you expect from the IDP show. And yeah, that's what we did.
Look good, feel good, play good.
Look clean, live clean.
That's right. Our famous motto from our what was that, senior year vacation?
Yeah,
to,
I think so.
Sandestin.
Yeah, we would dress well, but we would also come home and clean our room up.
We would make our bed every morning.
Yes.
Sure.
I think we've told this story on the pod before. We really did make our bed every morning. It was look clean. It was look clean, live clean. I haven't made my bed since then. You boys make your bed? Bobo, you strike me as a guy who makes the bed.
Definitely making the bed.
Addie, no way.
Not so much.
Yeah. We are very anti making the bed.
It's the way you're supposed to start your day. You start your day with a little bit of confidence. You know, you're getting your day going. You know, you're achieving something early on in the morning. It's going to set the tone for the
I
day.
think if you have to make your bed to get your confidence boost first thing in the morning, you're probably going to have a bad day regardless.
Well, what time is it? That's probably pretty dependent on what's going on. Is it 6 a.m.? Okay. Is it 11? Yeah.
Yes. Maybe
got bigger issues.
Who's making beds at 11 a.m.? Who among us? And he's like,
I love my bed.
I do love
I love to sleep.
That's great.
You like sleeping? Sound off in the comments.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments below this episode on your podcast player if you too enjoy sleep.
That's always my favorite thing. Sound off in the comments.
Sound off in the comments. We are gonna have someone on YouTube say, "I love to sleep" with like a little hand raised emoji.
Please do.
That's our favorite.
Yeah.
That's our dude. So tonight we've got a great episode for y'all. We are going to be talking about the top 24 DBs from 2022. This is the second installment in our Reality Check series presented by our friends at Reality Sports Online. Gentlemen, we were just having a little discussion before we got on mic about some possible transactions, some happenings in our RSO league. Of course, these episodes are a great showcase for that platform. I know Jake and Evan, who covered the defensive linemen, did an awesome job with that episode last week. Check it out if you have not already. But they talked up the RSO platform, and I know that's obviously the home to our favorite league, the XFFL. And we could probably sit here and talk just about that league. Hell, we did for multiple episodes, Bobo. And then, Addie, you came in there at the end, and it's what birthed this fine podcast right here.
Yeah, we love that league. You guys thinking about making any trades or anything like that? You guys been looking at other teams?
The one move I'd like to get up into the second round. I got 4 third rounders right now. I'm hoping I can maybe package some of them and get up into the second.
And somebody smart should do that. If you've got too many seconds, you know, and I don't know, I'm thinking about Nico right now. He's got like the whole second round. He needs to be looking to maybe move back into 2024, 2025 even. He's got too many picks right now.
Yep.
But I'm only looking at, I've got some players with a couple of bad contract hits. I took a hit, you know, basically trying to go for it, grabbing. Jordan Poyer's not too bad. Tyler Lockett's a lot of money. I'm not going to be able to move those guys, but just trying to look at cap stuff for next year. And that's what makes RSO so fun is it's not just dynasty. You got to make the numbers work for a team. I mean, it's a whole different dynamic. But no, I'm not really. I'm still licking my wounds.
Yeah, I haven't quite shifted over into trade mode yet, but definitely open for business.
I think that's the way you should be. I don't think you should be looking to make moves at this point. You know, people that want to tell you, "Oh, you get out there and make dialogue with your league." No,
Yeah.
no.
This is a period to kind of look back and reflect. I think making any moves right now, like we said before we started recording,
Yeah,
just bored.
yeah. I feel like the wolves of your league are going to be trying to make you make deals,
Yes,
right? You
sure.
know, but not the time to do it.
Nope.
There's really no upside in it.
There's-
way too much. There's way too much that can change
Exactly.
between now and the start of the season. You know, with the draft and free agency, like situations are going to change. Don't jump to conclusions.
Yeah,
yet.
don't get sucked in.
And
Just
if-
be patient.
If you lost like I did, don't trade Justin Jefferson because you're hurt.
tilting. Yeah,
yeah,
Don't
you're
tilt.
tilting your face off.
You're gonna be all right.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson's gonna be fine.
He's gonna be okay.
He's don't trade him for a bevy of picks and Stephon Diggs.
Yes.
Don't do that.
Could have a new quarterback.
Gosh.
Kirky boy ain't going anywhere, is
Probably
he?
not. Probably not.
Yeah,
but
they made the playoffs. I mean, they had a good season.
John.
Is it ironic to you all
The
that
defense was just terrible. They made the New York Giants look like world beaters.
the 4 teams left have good running backs?
I think we
San
see
Fran,
this.
good run game. Eagles, good run game.
Greg
Nixon.
Olson was talking about this a little bit on the broadcast. I thought it was a good point that good teams use the pass to set up the run late in the game. You get up big using your passing game, and then you salt the game away with your run game.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, yes, those teams have good running backs, but they also have prolific passing attacks.
Yeah, it's
I
both.
mean, these are
Elite coaches too.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. These are some of the most elite passing offenses in the league.
But you look at some of the teams that are out. The Bills struggled to run the ball.
They did.
Brady and them struggled to run the ball. The Vikings, Dalvin Cook didn't really run the ball that well in the playoffs. I'm trying to think of other bigger
Cowboys, Zeke.
No, Pollard got hurt,
Yeah.
so whatever. But yeah, there's a guy you need to trade. If you can get off Zeke, you better
You
hurry.
can't get anything for Zeke. Maybe in a fullback required league if he makes the switch.
And Zeke with the Cowboys, I think, is under contract in like 2027. Like it's a long.
He's getting
time.
cut this offseason.
I don't know what the numbers are, but that would be.
They can actually save some
Crazy.
money, I think, this
Really?
offseason
Really?
if they cut him. Yeah, I've seen some people talking about
Yeah,
that.
so he might restructure or whatever.
Yeah, he's like, oh, yeah. He's
Yeah.
like, you take that restructure, Zeke, or you're going to be on the free agency pile making
$4 to $5 million, maybe.
maybe, bro. I mean, I think the league sees what Zeke has left, and he may be better off just pivoting to center at this point, Bobo.
Oh gosh.
What a final play that was.
Hey, but my favorite tweet of the weekend, whoever, I think one of y'all showed it to us, is at least he got the snap clean.
That's right.
You know?
Nobody wants to say it, but good snap by Zeke.
I know you always want to talk the macro, Josh, but who's your new favorite? Well, I guess you had the Eagles in your Super Bowl.
I took the Eagles preseason, so I'm not backing off of that.
You wanted the Bird Bowl.
Yeah, I wanted the Bird Bowl, and I think if Lamar had been healthy, there's a chance that maybe we're having a different conversation. Listening to the Athletic Football Show, they were talking up how good Lamar Jackson was and this Ravens offense was before he got hurt. And so who knows what this season could have been had we got healthy Lamar, had we got healthy Rashad Bateman. I mean, this team probably looks a lot different. I think they
Even Dobbins.
just got
Healthy
ravaged.
Mark Andrews was banged up.
Yeah, ravaged by
Just
injuries.
bad luck this year.
Yeah,
for
because
them.
that defense was good. Once Roquan got there, that defense became a top-tier unit.
So who wins this weekend? The 2 games.
Boy, I think it's Bengals because I think Mahomes is going to be banged up.
Yeah.
And then I would say I think Niners. I think we're getting a Bengals 49ers Super Bowl.
Is it Mahomes and Burrow? Are those the two best quarterbacks in the league now? Has
What's the-
Burrow hopped Josh Allen?
I'll have a pretty clear answer, but you go ahead, Josh.
I think he has, yeah.
All Burrow does is win.
I
That's
think my 4 dynasty quarterbacks right now are Mahomes 1, Burrow 2. Honestly, y'all are gonna hate this. Lawrence is getting pretty high for me right
Yeah.
now.
Lawrence,
He's great.
Fields. I mean, a lot of those
Lawrence-
young cats should be in there.
Josh Allen he's sliding right now for me.
I think Hurts should be in the conversation as well because I think he's going to get the bag this offseason.
my only thing with Hurts is just what type of longevity are we going to see with him in the NFL? You
I think
he's-
you'll see less rushing, but the dude's a great passer. That offense is built
Offense is
beautifully for
amazing.
him.
so you have him top 5.
I would have him top 5.
Okay,
yeah.
so Hurts or Josh Allen.
Probably still Josh Allen.
Man, but Hurts has
It's
some nice
close.
pieces.
He does.
Stephon Diggs getting a little bit older.
Get a
Yeah.
little older, yep.
They're going to have to shift into the phase that the Chiefs shifted into where it's no Tyreek Hill. You had to revamp that offense. That's coming for the Bills at some point.
I saw where they mocked Bijan Robinson.
To the
Daniel
Bills.
Jeremiah did today.
Wow, to the Bills.
I've also seen where Jackson Smith and Jigba has been mocked to the Eagles.
Yeah, bring him out of the slot.
Which I think is
Jeez,
hilarious.
that's filthy.
No, that'd be gross.
Yeah.
What about you with Herbert?
Yeah, I think I'm fine with Herbert.
I think a coaching offensive coordinator upgrade is coming, and I think there was
And the weapons, I would prefer better weapons. I mean, Mike Williams, Keenan, they're both Keenan's
They
getting
need
up there
some
in age.
juice.
But Mike Williams, man, he's always banged up.
Yep.
And he's not. And what is he? He's just like a big, go ball type guy.
Yeah.
Bucky Brooks had Bijan pegged to the Chargers.
Hmm.
Because Eckler's what, 29?
He's older.
He's 27.
He's not a great rusher. He's great for PPR, but
Yeah.
okay rusher. I was going to ask you something else about. So who do you think this weekend? So you have
I have Bengals and 49ers.
and
I'm going to go with, I think Purdy's luck's going to run out.
Yeah.
I'm going with the Eagles versus the Bengals. Although it does feels like a trap with everyone betting against Mahomes right now.
Yeah, high ankle sprain, man. That's really
It's
tough.
brutal, and he looked very
hobbled.
bad. Yeah, it was tough for him to move around, and that's not going to get
His
any
mobility is a sneaky superpower for him. Like he is really good.
Yeah,
at
just to kinda like step up and-
escaping
yeah,
and
right.
They had that clip out there of him in that Titans game, like just slowly making his way down the sideline and spinning right at the goal line on contact and getting the touchdown from like 30 yards out. Like we don't think about Mahomes as a sneaky rusher, but he really is.
I don't know if I'm going to bet against Andy Reid though. Andy Reid's so fun. Pacheco looks good. I don't know.
Defense is looking good.
That team.
That'll be a fun game.
That
But the
game's gonna be
Bengals just
closer.
went in and blew the doors off the Buffalo Bills.
And they own Kansas City right
They
now.
own.
They
They've won
manage them. I'm
3
sorry.
in
They
a row.
manage
Yes.
Kansas City.
Don't you get us canceled right now? Not on the eve of conference championship weekend.
I'm going to say Kansas City, and then I'm going to say the Eagles because I agree with you. I think Purdy he came back to earth a little bit last weekend.
Yeah.
If he didn't have Ayuk, Debo,
Dude.
Kittle, CMC, Elijah Mitchell, Kyle
The
Juszczyk.
biggest yak freaks in the league.
Yes.
I mean, what a lineup.
we could get out there, I think, and throw for
Oh,
250.
easy.
Lauren couldn't. I think the shoulder would go
Yeah,
out
true.
on him. Yeah.
Poor Lauren.
Poor Lauren would not hold up. So let's talk some DBs, fellas. We got a great episode for y'all lined up. We're basically, like the DL episode, going to go through the top 24 cornerbacks and safeties kind of all mixed together. And we're going to figure out the reality of their finish from 2022. Do we expect them to regress? Are these folks that we expect to see back in the top 24 next year? What's the dynasty outlook? Are these guys buys? Are these guys sells? So should be a fun episode, gentlemen. And let's jump right in with a player that we have talked about. Bobby, I know you've talked about a lot on this show. Number 24, Jalen Thompson, safety for the Arizona Cardinals. Played 99% of snaps across 17 games, 9.91 points per game, had 79 solos, 26 assists, a tackle for loss, and graded pretty well on PFF, 65 overall, but a 90.3 tackle grade. It was maybe a little bit of a step back for Jalen Thompson this season, Bobo, but still very much relevant for IDP here at 9.91 points per game.
Yeah, in 2021, he finished in most leagues as about the safety 5, somewhere in that range. But we all kind of thought regression was going to happen, and it definitely did. You know, Jalen Thompson was my IDP MVP for 2021, if you remember.
That's right.
Mostly because of the cost acquisition. You know, he was pretty much a waiver wire pickup in 2021, and he was pretty disappointing this year, honestly. I mean, really, when it boils down to it, I know we're talking about the top 24, but if you had him, 9.91 points per game. I mean, some games he's getting you 7, and some games he's getting you 11. It's okay because the safeties were so gross this year. But it wasn't. You were pretty disappointed if you drafted him expecting 2021 Jalen Thompson.
Yeah, his season high on the year was 7. He had a 17-point game.
That was the
Just-
season
wow.
high.
That was his highest
Wow.
game this year.
Wow.
Weeks 1 through 9, he averaged 11.5 points per game. Weeks 10 through 18, that dropped to 8 points per game. Played 42% of his snaps in the sweet spot. Not someone that I'm really looking to acquire, and that's going to be the story probably for every defensive back on this list.
Yeah, we're not going to be like super psyched, like, go get this guy.
Don't ever do that, period, with probably any of these defensive backs. Don't go buying defensive backs. It's
because
just,
the guys you can get at value are the ones you're going to hear a lot of values very high on this list.
and also it's like, every year in the rookie draft, you can get like the best safety in the class, like in the 4th round.
It's true.
Every year. We saw it this year with Brisker. Lewis Seen was drafted around there. He might be solid at some point, but you can always get like those top prospects.
Well, hell, you could
3rd, 4th
probably
round.
have gone and got Kyle Hamilton for like a
Kyle Hamilton was
3rd round pick after he started slow, and people were like, God, this guy's a bust. What the hell was I doing?
Yep.
Spending a top pick on this guy. So you could have scooped him up.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that was what was happening, right? Everyone was spending up on Kyle Hamilton in the 2nd, and then Brisker was really the one that I think people should have zeroed in on.
Yeah.
I'm going to have an article probably in the next couple of months that comes out before the rookie drafts about. I feel like there's a lot of safety in drafting safeties in your rookie drafts. You look back the last couple of years and you can really pull some, you think about, gosh, Lenore Ryan. Why can I not come up with his name?
Duggar.
Kyle Duggar, who was drafted. You look at Jeremy Chin, the first year that he was drafted, he was fantastic. Yep. You look at last year, you look at Kyle Hamilton is going to be good. You look at Jalen Petre is going to be good.
He was undrafted.
You look at, who am I missing the big one? I said Kyle Hamilton.
But to even take it further
Brisker,
back, Derwin James was like a 3rd round
Petre.
pick. Yeah.
Jalen Petre.
Yeah.
Further back, Derwin James, Budda Baker, all those
Yep.
guys were like 3rd, 4th round picks,
Whereas in the 4th, 3rd, and even in the 5th round, you're just kind of throwing a dart on another linebacker. Just kind of hoping that the depth chart works out in a way to where Patrick Jones gets a shot in Minnesota. I almost said Minneapolis. I guess that would have been correct.
That is
as well.
technically correct, yes.
But I don't know. I feel like throwing darts at some of these top safeties, because there's only, in a 5-round rookie draft, there's only going to maybe be 3 or 4 safeties drafted, and they're going to play.
Yeah, you don't have to take them early.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll have a pretty good idea of who's going to have a decent role, right? I mean, that'll be pretty clear after the draft, I think.
For sure.
So let's move on to number 23 here, gentlemen. Keisean Nixon, cornerback for the Green Bay Packers. There's certain teams you're going to hear a lot on this list, and the Packers have several players, I think 3 at least, because we're talking about Adrian Amos and Rasul Douglas a little later, but there are just certain teams that for whatever reason, maybe it was the scheme, the number of defensive snaps they played, these teams just happen to produce a lot of top finishers. So for Nixon, Bobo, I think the story, though, was the return yardage.
Yeah.
He had a kick return touchdown, 1,009 kick return yards, and 140 punt return yards. So if you're not in leagues that reward kick and punt return yards, you should be.
Yep.
Players should get points for doing things on the field, and that certainly qualifies. But Nixon, was 18 solos, 5 assists, a tackle for loss, not really doing much in the defensive department, but you do have to pay attention to these CBs because there's oftentimes, we're going to talk about a guy at number 3, players that get these return roles, Bobo, and could be very profitable.
Honestly, I could argue that Keisean Nixon is a buy because I love the kick return yards. I think we've all seen the talent that he can be. He can be a very rewarding kick return type of player. And we're probably only going to see the tackles go up. Yep. You've got some older guys in Jair Alexander and Rasul Douglas ahead of him who are fine.
Eric Stokes is there as well.
That team could see some minor blow-ups here in the next couple of years. That's an older Packers team. I don't ever really recommend to ever buy DBs, but I could get behind grabbing Keisean Nixon, especially if you're in return yard leagues.
Yeah,
really.
28% of snaps across 17 games played, 9.93 points per game.
Yeah, I mean, if he starts becoming a full-time cornerback, playing 80% of the snaps, putting up 50 to 60 tackles on top of those return yards, yeah, you're looking at someone that's potentially like a top 5 DB.
And he has game-winning potential. So if you're looking at it from like what y'all love, like best ball type categories.
Great best ball pick. Yeah. Some of these cornerbacks with return yardage potential could be week winners.
Oh, yeah. They put up 30 or 40 points.
Yep.
There's your W right there.
And if you look at the way Nixon was used, he was primarily used in the slot. So, I mean, we know all about those slot corners being really good at tackles. So, yeah, I mean, if he does step into a larger role and if he is going to play in that slot, I mean, that could be gold next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about a stalwart on the DB rankings for years. It is Tyrann Mathieu, safety for the New Orleans Saints. Here at 22, 64 solos, 27 assists, 3 tackles for loss. He had a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, 3 picks. Graded pretty well for IDP, 81.2 overall and an 87.9 in coverage. He played 100% of snaps. Good for you, Honey Badger. Across 17 games, 9.98 points per game. Addy, I feel like Honey Badger is slowly sliding into this territory of on that DB 2-3 kind of borderline for me.
Yeah, I think so. He is going to be 31 when next year starts. So what else can we really expect from him? He's just going to be a nice little solid vet, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Kind of like similar to like a Harrison Smith, right?
Take it back to like an Antoine Bethea, that was around for years and years.
He'll probably stick around for till his mid-30s, I'd say. But yeah, I mean, he's not going to be someone I think that I'm going to be targeting in Dynasty. But redraft-wise, yeah, I think he could be a really nice value.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. I'll be happy to snag him late in a best ball draft this year just to kind of fill out the roster, Bobo.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. You know what you're getting with Honey Badger. We know what this guy is at this point.
He's got a pretty safe floor, but his
100%
upside
of snaps, man.
Yeah, that's a lot. His upside's somewhat limited, though.
Finished the year really strong. Averaged 8.5 points per game through his first 9 weeks, and then the second half of the season, he averaged 12.7 points per game.
There we go. Addy, we should mention, I think you're pulling these logs from your Dynasty rankings. Is that correct?
I am. I've got...
Speak on it a little bit.
We got a lot of stuff in these ranks, guys.
I was looking at that. Keisean Nixon, per Addy's ranks, he's 25.6 years old. So I was kind of interested to see how old Nixon was. So he's still a young guy as well. Go ahead, Adam. Sorry.
Yeah. Age is in there. The logs are in there.
Yeah, we have basically all their stats broken down. We have how they performed the first half of the season, the second half of the season. We have their usage in here. And this is just for defensive backs. We have this for edge and defensive linemen. We have pressure rates. We have pressures. We have everything you could want, everything that you need.
2021 points per game, 2022 points per game, draft capital, age, team.
PFF grades.
How many tackles did they have?
RAS scores.
How many tackles did they have last year?
College
trade
stats.
value.
It truly is
contract.
Unfair to call these rankings.
Yeah.
Because they're not. It's more like an IDP kind of compendium.
It's a dang bio.
It is everything that you need. It's an encyclopedia. Bobo, I know you remember the days of like the Britannica encyclopedia sets that you could get like 26 books, A to Z. That's what Addy has put out for y'all.
I'm in R right now.
Only $5 a month, folks. TheIDPShow.com. Sign up to become a paid supporter over there. You're going to get access to Adam's Dynasty rankings. You're going to get the IDP draft kit that we're going to be putting out right after the NFL draft. So you want to get your hands on that resource. We're going to have some awesome stuff we're cooking up with Jake Colhagen. We're just talking with our boy tonight about some stuff he's going to be doing. You get first crack at these best ball drafts that we're going to be doing, Bobo. So many reasons to be a paid supporter. But
sweaty.
even if you just got Adam's rankings, that would be a steal.
Yep.
So head over to theidpshow.com.
It should be a lot more. Truly, it really should.
We should be charging.
It's a lot of work.
I'm telling y'all, I'm in Google Drive every day for work, and there's Addy. Adam Markham edited today on the IDP Dynasty Compendium.
It's basically the only thing I've been doing in my spare time lately.
That's right.
We want to level up.
You can't golf, so he's going to be in the ranks.
That's right.
Every single day, folks, just for you.
Hope Adam never moves south.
Yeah, it's true. The ranks will go straight to hell if he's able to golf year round.
He is.
So let's talk about number 21, Jonathan Owens, cornerback on RSO for the Houston Texans. 84 solos, 41 assists, a sack, and 4 pass breakups. 80.9 tackle grade, 83% of snaps across 17 games played. 10.13 points per game. Addy, the Houston Texans had quite a few players on this list as well. Jonathan Owens clocking in at number 21.
Yeah, it's a bad team. It's a bad defense. I mean, basically all the defensive backs were pretty good. I mean, Desmond King was really – is he on this list?
He is. He's very high on this list.
So that's 3 of them, right?
Yes, because we've got the number 1 finisher is also from the Houston Texans.
Yeah, so, I mean – do we care about Jonathan Owens and Dynasty? No. 48.3 PFF grade, 49.0 coverage grade. There's a very good chance this guy gets replaced. I wouldn't look too much into it. He was just a body they needed. You know, Houston is going to be trying to completely change that team, probably completely
New coach
gut
coming
that
in.
team.
Yep.
I would not be too confident really in any of the options in Houston outside of Christian Harris, Jalen Petre, that's Jonathan Grenard maybe. I mean,
It's gross.
maybe.
It's very gross.
Your boy Ogania,
Did
whatever.
he get in trouble today?
Ogbania Okoronkwo.
No, that was
Charles
Charles
Omenihu.
Omenihu. That's
He-
right.
They're still playing. I mean, that
Ogbania.
was a big loss
Yeah,
because Omenihu's been playing really
he's been
well.
pretty good this year.
Yeah,
That's
for real
right.
NFL.
That's right.
Yeah, he's
San
formerly
Francisco.
of the Texans, now with San Francisco.
Because they
What's
have-
your boy? What's his name?
Ebukam? Oh, Ogbania Okoronkwo.
He's been really good.
Yeah, he
I don't know
has
if he's
been.
still going to be under contract, but he's someone that you can probably still find out there on the waivers.
The
I
Texans
think
are
I
going to have
picked
a
him
new
up.
coach coming in,
Yeah.
new defensive scheme. It's just it's a lot of turnover coming. That team is building something. I don't know that I necessarily want any of the pieces, but I think the takeaway here is there are certain teams where certain positions can be very, very profitable, right? I mean, there are certain teams like Philadelphia where everyone on the defensive line was a screaming value, and we're going to see several teams here that, for whatever reason, like we mentioned, had a lot of DBs finish inside the top 24. So, will Houston be back in that mix? Maybe so. I don't think this team is going to be good for a few years. I think it's going to take them some time to turn it around. So, maybe a team you want to target in these best ball drafts to try to see if you can catch lightning in a bottle with a Jonathan Owens type in 2023.
Another guy that started out really hot and kind of fizzled. 10.5 points per game the first 1 through 9 weeks, and then 8.5, 10 through 18.
Eddie, did you pull that from the Dynasty rankings?
I did.
Yet again. Okay, beautiful. I just wanted to make sure we were still in those beautiful ranks. Number 20 here, Bobo. Who do we have on our list next?
Budda Baker, Cardinals safety here with 75 solos, 36 assists, 1 TFL, 7 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble on the season. He finished the year with a 74.5 overall PFF grade, an 80.2 run defense grade, and a 70.4 coverage grade to go along with 98% of the snaps played in 2022, and that's across 15 games, 11.53 points per game. Are we back on Budda, or, Budda was kind of like Jalen Thompson, I feel like, in 2020, to where we were a little hesitant to get on board, and here we are again, Budda Baker, who we've kind of perennially drafted as a DB1, Josh, now is a back-end DB2 again.
Yeah, man, I think I look at Budda more as love him in the real NFL, heartbeat of that Arizona Cardinals defense, but as young, up-and-coming DBs are pushing up the ranks, and Addy, you're going through this exercise right now. I'd be curious how you feel about Budda Baker. It feels like Budda's one of those guys that's sliding as other guys are rising.
Correct. I have Budda at safety 8 right now. He is going to be 27.5 when the season starts. That's not that big of a deal. But, yeah, I mean, he's, 12 points per game. That's great. But we don't want to overvalue that. I mean, you can get that. You can find that. That's not that hard to find.
I think the problem is he's still going to be drafted high, and he's going to be
sure.
drafted higher than probably where he's going to finish. So he's not going to be a player I would say most of us are going to be targeting in drafts.
He's got a cool name.
Yeah.
He's an awesome player.
I mean,
he's a guy
genuinely.
you'd love to root for and have on your team. But I think the kind of the sizzle is kind of outstripping and outpacing the production right now.
Yeah. 650 total tackles in his first 6 years. So I mean, he's been fantastic tackle wise. But yeah, I mean,
He's solid. Don't hear what we're not saying, to quote the fantasy footballers. We're not saying Budda Baker is bad, is not someone you want on your team.
you have to spend a top 6
Exactly.
pick.
You still have
to
to
acquire
pay up
him.
to get Budda, and he's just not going to offer that kind of ROI at this point in his career. Talk about another team that's going to have a complete makeover.
Yeah.
So who knows what this team will
And
look
also
like.
with Budda, like, what's been happening the last few years? He's been getting banged up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like he's having some pretty big injuries.
And he's not a big guy.
No.
I don't know how that kind of, works against your body, not being a big guy and taking those many hits. But here's a question for you. So this is kind of something that I had looked in Adams' ranks and thought about. Budda Baker in Dynasty or Jamal Adams?
Man, I think I'll probably go Budda Baker. just
you want
because-
to say Jamal Adams, don't you?
Jamal Adams just can't stay healthy right now.
He just can't,
Yeah.
man.
I think I got to be out on him.
Yeah.
I mean, with me saying that though, understand that's a good buy window. I think.
Is Jamal to the point?
Everyone's out on this guy, I believe.
Is he to the point in his career with his health though, to where you feel like it could hit one day where it's like, wow, Jamal retired?
I thought you were going to say Jamal's been healthy for 3 straight seasons and played 17 games.
If that happens, he would.
I don't think it would cost you much to go acquire Jamal Adams.
No, I
right
think
now.
you could get him for a third, maybe.
I was thinking a fourth. I mean, depends on how the person feels that has him, I think.
I won't let him go for a fourth.
No,
In
I
Ad-
wouldn't either.
In Adams' ranks, Jamal
But I wouldn't pay a third.
is 27.3 years old, and his trade value is a third, while Budda is 27.1 years old, and again, the trade value is essentially a third. So it's kind of a break even.
Yeah. Those two guys are very close in my mind.
It may be worth throwing the dart to see if Jamal can stay healthy, because a healthy Jamal is worth more than a healthy
We've seen him be
Budda.
the safety one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what are we got
This is
Jordan
healthy.
Brooks. This Jordan Brooks ACL injury.
Right.
So
Will he still be around in Seattle?
yes, but is he going to play at all next season?
No, I mean Jamal. Is he in
He
danger?
is, no, he got that big deal as soon as they traded for
I
him.
don't know if they have an out potentially.
Yeah, I'll look it up. But
You're right, Josh. It's going to be Cody Barton, LB1.
Yeah.
Wow.
They'll bring in.
they'll bring
somebody.
in someone. I could see them.
Bring Bobby Wagner back.
That would be hilarious. They just like, hey, yeah, sorry
Rams got
about
him.
all
Let
the
me
bad
talk about the
blood.
next one while you're
Hold
looking
on.
that up, Josh.
Potential out after 2024.
Okay.
It would cost them $21.3 million to cut him, and he's
Sheesh.
only 18.1 against the
Boy,
cap.
One of the worst deals in
One of the
NFL
worst
history.
trades. Russell Wilson kind of
Made up
eclipses
for it.
everything in terms of bad trades recently, but Jamal Adams has not worked out either.
Seattle leveled out.
Lot of
Bad
people-
on Jamal, great on Russell.
A lot of
there you
people throwing shade at the Bradley Chubb trade as well. That has gotten a lot of hate on the
I mean, they
normie
did
NFL
give up.
pods.
They gave up a first, and they paid him a ton, and he didn't really do much.
And then they lost the first in the tampering. So they went from having 2 firsts to 0 because they traded one for Chubb and then lost one.
Who gets that pick for the tampering?
It's just a forfeited pick.
Wow.
yeah, only
Yeah.
31 picks in the first round
Yep.
this year.
That's crazy. That's the first time ever.
That's the first time I can remember. Yep.
That's insane. So Mr. Irrelevant will be 1 pick less than he was
That's
last
right.
year.
That's right. So you wanted to read the next guy, Bobo?
I do, because I want to get your take here. Number 19, Javon Holland, safety for the Miami Dolphins, had 77 solos, 19 assists, 1.5 sacks, 1 TFL, 7 pass breakups, 1 forced fumble, 2 interceptions, and he had 18 punt return yards. Thanks for that, Aaron. His PFF overall grade was a 67. He had a pass rush grade of 76, and he played 99% of snaps across 17 games in 2022 and a 10.29 points per game last year. Joshua, Kyle Raymer, what's your temperature on Javon Holland?
Love him as a DB2 option. I've got him right now as like my DB2-3. He's in the mix there. Don't feel great if he's your DB1,
Yeah.
but 99% of snaps. I think he's a playmaker. You listen to a Dolphins broadcast, and the announcers are talking up, this guy's a big play machine. He's got great instincts. So I feel great about Javon. I think as long as you're valuing him appropriately, then, you're not setting your sights on maybe where it was this time last year, where it's like, hey, Javon Holland has like top 10, top 12 upside. I think if you're looking at him as a top 24 DB, as you can see, that kind of expectation paid off.
I think you could be wrong. I think he could be a safety one.
He could absolutely
He could have
be.
one of those years.
Yeah.
He's 22.9 years old.
Yeah, I'm not saying he can't be a DB1, but I'm not expecting that.
Okay.
I see
get
it in his range of outcomes,
I think
absolutely.
very up and down, right?
Yeah.
He'll finish maybe as safety 3 one year, then he'll be safety 30 the next year, right? He's all dependent on those big plays, and he does have a knack for making them.
Yeah.
But yeah, this year he was pretty average, only playing 28% of the snaps in the sweet spot. That's not ideal. And then weeks 1 through 9, he averaged 12.5 points per game. Weeks 10 through 18, just 7.8 points.
I was going to say, what were his splits? Because it felt like he fell off at the end of the season. I was
He
not
did.
plugging him into the lineup much at all.
And that was a bummer too, because Brandon Jones went out. He missed. I think he went out like midway through the year, right? And then we figured, okay, well maybe Javon Holland, steps into that box safety role, plays closer to the line of scrimmage, but that did not happen at all.
Nope.
And yeah, I mean, just Javon Holland is not someone that I'm really interested in rostering, just because I don't like I'm not into that. I'm not into the up and down, and like you're going to get some weeks that are 5 points, 5. Look at this log: 5, 5, 3, 2, 6. Like
No, thank
that's
you.
half his games.
Because you're going to be out of rhythm with the good weeks that he has. You're going to be picking the bad weeks to put him in and picking the good weeks to bench him.
Exactly. You're going to be getting frustrated when he goes on those little cold spells.
Yeah.
And get him out of the lineup, then he's going to blow up, and you're like,
I hate you.
I hate this guy.
Get this guy off my roster. So I have him as that DB2, that safety 2 in RSO. So I'm not super concerned. I've got some nice safety options there. And I think that's how you have to play it. I'm not really pegging. I don't even like pegging him as this is my locked and loaded safety 2. Yeah. I want him in a stable of safeties that I can plug in with confidence, depending on matchup, if he's been playing well, so on and so forth.
Adam has him right around Xavier McKinney, Kyle Duggar, kind of in the ranks.
That feels about right.
I agree with that. McKinney was frustrating this year. I looked up, and by week 10, I'm like, wow, I've started this guy all year, and he's been kind of trash.
Yep. Then he went out and hurt his hand.
Absolutely. Way to go, Xavier.
Good job, bud. What was that, an ATV accident?
Said he almost lost 3 fingers.
What?
Yeah, it was serious.
JPP status.
He knew where I was going.
That's right. I could hear the wheels turning. Next up here on the list, number 18, Adrian Amos, safety for the Green Bay Packers. We mentioned him earlier as one of the Packers that made this list. 73 solos, 29 assists, 1 sack, 7 TFLs, 5 pass breakups, a pick, and a fumble recovery. Graded best on PFF, 73.2 tackle grade, only 54.2 overall, 95% of snaps across 17 games played for 10.37 points per game on average. Adrian Amos was a nice little surprise, Addy.
Yeah, he was solid. I mean, he's been solid the past, really his whole career, and especially in Green Bay. Although, has he played anywhere else other than Green Bay?
I don't think so.
Cut that if you would, Josh.
Absolutely not.
But no, I mean, Amos
That's my favorite tradition. Cut that. No.
Amos is not going to be somebody we're really targeting, right? I mean, he's hitting up there in age. I mean, he's just...
I think the question we need to ask around this table is, are these guys that we would draft in a best ball draft?
In a best ball draft? So, I mean, for like a redraft type deal, yes.
Yeah, I think I would. The guy finished top 24.
Yeah.
But there's also something to be said for these like kind of guys, Bobo, who are just like, yeah, I'll give you like 7, 8, 9, 12. There's something to be said for in best ball drafts saying, screw those guys.
Yeah.
Give me the guys who score you 0 or score you 32 points.
Exactly. If I'm not in a bunch of best balls with you two losers, I'm just going to be grabbing a bunch of these cornerbacks.
Yep.
You might shore up your lineup with like a late Adrian Amos just to give you a more steady option when those guys bottom out. But I'm mostly going to be swinging for upside.
But I can tell you, even in some leagues this year, I won with Keisean, Nixon, and Marcus Jones in my DB slot. And this is just regular IDP, even dynasty like fantasy. They got me some W's this year. Not even in a best ball, setup, just in a week to week type setup. They're down the stretch. Some of these guys like really, really perform for me. So yes, Adrian Amos, I don't care about. Darnell Savage, I don't care about. I don't know. Most of this Packers secondary outside of Keisean Nixon really for me is pretty gross. They don't throw it Jair Alexander. No.
Feels like a big shakeup coming to the Green Bay secondary too, right? And that whole team. I mean, they're about to go through a completely different phase.
Aaron Rodgers getting traded to the Jets.
And we haven't had this conversation, but the Quay Walker meltdown thing was not a great
bad look for
It was
Quay.
a really bad look for him.
Because he had a great season, and then you get these 2 incidents where he just acts like an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do this stuff, man.
Yeah. And then, what's his name, looking at him, just being like, dude, you got to play smart.
I think LaFleur was like, use your head, like, be smart.
And they lost that game.
Yeah.
That was a big probably reason why.
Yes. You already have, you're up against it with this feisty Lions team who wants to knock you out of the playoffs, and then one of your best defensive players gets himself ejected from the game. It's like
for pushing an assistant or something like
just shooting yourself in the foot. It was a really bad look for Quay Walker. Hopefully he grows up a little bit.
In the tunnel was pretty rough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Looking like a 4-year-old.
Yeah. They really,
Gonzalez doesn't even do that, honestly.
They did not do him any favors showing the tunnel cam, but I don't know how you couldn't show it after he put on that display.
That lowered his IDP value for us. Thank you.
You drop him down the ranks at all, Addy?
It didn't help it. I mean,
you're like, this dude's kind of a knucklehead.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
Yeah, that's not great. Bobo, what do you think about this next guy here? 17 on the list. Rodney McLeod Jr., safety for the Indianapolis Colts. 59 solos, 37 assists, 8 tackles for loss, 8 pass breakups, had a fumble recovery, 2 picks, and an INT touchdown. Graded pretty well on PFF, 80.1 with an 85.3 coverage grade, 91% of snaps across 17 games, good for 10.44 points per game. I think you were rolling out Rodney McLeod late in the season, weren't you?
I literally have his game log pulled up from the XFL, and the boy was fancy down the stretch. He was great for you. You know, depending on your league scoring, he was probably hovering around the 10 points per game. Might have got you up to 15, might have got you down to about 9 or so. But, dude, I'm telling you, in what literally was one of the hardest years for me, DB-wise, not even DB, but safety-wise, for me to find any type of relevant week-in and week-out production. How do you say his name? I always want to say McLeod.
Rodney McLeod.
Yes, Rodney
Okay.
McLeod, yeah.
I think Joey said something weird.
McLeod.
Yeah. That northern
McLeod.
accent threw me for a loop. But, dude, McLeod was fine for me. I don't know what his staying power there is in Indy.
Not much.
He's 32.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not really trusting. There's Rodney Thomas. They have another
He did
Rodney.
pretty solid.
He
Yeah,
was
he
a
was- he was
rookie.
good.
And I always get him and Rodney McLeod confused. But Rodney Thomas is the Rod that you want. The Rod you don't want is the old Rod that came over from Philadelphia. I was like, Rodney McLeod is not keeping
Nick Cross
off the field. And sure enough, Rodney
sure
McLeod kept Nick Cross off the field.
Yeah, that's the bummer, right? It makes you think what could have been with Nick Cross. McLeod, the usage was amazing. 70% of his snaps were in the sweet spot this year. That was like top 10 among safeties. So, yeah, I mean, it's a great role there for whoever the safety is going to be. I don't expect it to be Rodney McLeod again.
Hopefully it's Nick Cross.
Hopefully so. I think
Get it together, Nick.
the Colts hope that as well.
Who y'all hiring?
That's a good question. The only person we've requested a second interview for is Ejiro Evero. If you remember, Sig said, whoever interviews Ejiro Evero, that is a smart team. So I like that we're calling this guy back for a second interview. But I don't know at this point. I've seen rumors of Dan Quinn getting a second interview, which is interesting because that'd be 2 defensive coordinators. I'm hoping we go young offensive mind who can build a good ecosystem around a rookie quarterback.
Ursay calls Josh Raymond tomorrow and says, Josh, I'm hiring somebody at 10 o'clock. Who we hiring?
Shane Steichen,
Really?
Eagles offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Yep, Bill, we're going to trade up. Jim, listen, Jim. Put down the substances. You're going to trade up to 1. You're going to take Bryce Young. You're going to hire Shane Steichen, and we're going to roll forward for the, with the blueprint that has worked for 25 plus years of drafting the QB at number 1, seemed to work out pretty well with Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck until he retired.
Are you team Young over Stroud?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. What I like about what I've heard about Bryce Young and when I've watched him play, his ability to process the field is pretty next level.
You don't like Will Levis?
Levi's. I feel like he needs to go to the
San
49ers
Fran.
and be in Levi's Stadium.
Woo!
That makes the most sense to
That's
me.
next level,
That
Josh.
would give me chills.
That's meta, Josh.
You've worked it in. Another scratch it off your bingo card. Addy having chills. Still having chills, huh? May want to get that looked at, Addy.
Here's the season.
This is the season for chills. Next up here, Minkah Fitzpatrick, safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 56 solos, 40 assists, a tackle for loss, 11 pass breakups, 6 picks, and an interception touchdown. Graded very well across the board, 80s across the board, except on pass rush. 99% of snaps, 10.57 points per game. Minkah was fine this year, Addy.
Yeah, he was solid. I mean, he, like Minkah always does, he has that big play upside, and you saw it early on in the season. Week 1, 40 points. Week 4, 26 points. Week 13, 22 points. But there were some lows, too. Week 3 was 4 points. Week 5 was 3 points. Week 11 was 6 points. Week 15 was 5 points. So, I mean, that's Minkah Fitzpatrick. But, yeah, I mean, if you look at points per game, the points per game was up this year. He was averaging 13.6 points per game, 11.7 last year. So, I mean, good news across the board. The tackle numbers were definitely down.
Yeah, that was what we expected to come down because
Right.
he had an outrageous number of tackles last year.
But the interceptions, the big plays came back up this year.
That's right.
So I think he
6
had
interceptions and 1 INT touchdown.
That's just what you get. I mean, he's still one of the better actual safeties in the league. Always a big play threat. So I mean, yeah, I think you should feel good having that guy in your lineup.
Yeah. If you hear a discrepancy in the points per game, these points per game totals are pulled from our RSO league, which has a slightly modified scoring because we started our main league before we created Big Three scoring.
Yeah, don't
So-
get too hung up on the
Yes.
scoring stuff. I mean, most of these leagues translate. Like we play in big play type leagues.
The
right?
finishes it's just a very slightly modified version of
We're
Big
talking
Three
like
scoring.
maybe a point per game off or
Yeah.
something.
Our
So-
players get more points than the other teams. We don't talk about it much, but
Yeah, that's true.
it's a caveat.
Hey, so next up here, Bobo, Rasul Douglas,
Sure.
cornerback, Green Bay Packers, 69 solos, 16 assists, a sack, 14 tackles for loss, 13 PBUs, a forced fumble, and 4 picks. Green across the board on the PFF grades, 89% of snaps, 17 games played, 10.7 points per game. He was one of those Packers that performed well, but do we care, Bobo?
I don't care. Y'all like peanut butter sandwiches? What's your go-to? You
No.
do jelly? I'll tell you what I do after.
I
talk to you
mean,
guys.
I don't really like. I don't like a lot of jelly. I like kind of a little bit of jelly.
Strawberry.
You don't want it like
strawberry's
oozing
good.
out the sides.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jam, jelly,
Jelly
preserve.
for sure.
Okay.
F some jam. No, thank you.
No, thank you, Jam. Get
about
out of
you,
here, Jam.
Joshy?
I haven't been doing many sandwiches. Gluten-free
yeah.
bread is not great. It's been hard to find bread that's actually worth eating.
What's it taste like?
Like, there's been some bread we've eaten that legit tastes like styrofoam.
Really?
Yeah, it's bad.
Huh.
Like cardboard. It's really rough.
What's styrofoam taste like, Addy?
Like cardboard.
Yeah, like cardboard. Cardboard tastes like styrofoam and vice versa. So, yeah, I haven't been doing a lot of Sammys
Well, that's
recently.
a bummer, Josh.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
No, man. That's
You know what
I'm
you need
having
to
to
do
make a lot of
instead?
life changes.
My boy loves when we do like saltine crackers and then put peanut butter on them.
That's a
Put
classic.
the marshmallows on them.
Oh wow.
Slide them in the oven. Heat them up.
Wow.
Next level, man.
I
Our
thought you were
crackers,
going to stop after the
gluten,
crackers and peanut butter.
saltines.
The crackers have been okay.
Yeah.
Bread is hard because
Yeah.
the texture is always off on gluten-free bread.
But is like a regular saltine cracker, is that gluten?
Yeah.
Okay.
Has that
Anything-
been kind of depressing? Not
It's
being
so
able to
sad.
enjoy food and
Dude,
stuff.
it's like I can't go get Great American Donuts.
I'll be honest
I
with
can't
you.
get fried chicken.
I tried
my
the not
God.
gluten thing for a while. I think my body like has to have gluten.
Mm-hmm.
Like I went into like a
Shock.
I couldn't function type of mode.
So it's like we're out driving around like, all right, well, we want to just get a quick lunch, but Chick-fil-A's closed.
Josh is just
What are we going to do?
crying in the passenger
It's
seat.
like all the places that we used to eat, we can't eat there anymore.
By the way, Chick-fil-A closing on Campbell Lane has
Been a bummer.
Really,
Been a real bummer.
messed me up.
Really thrown a monkey wrench into your whole like
Now you got a 15
lunch
minute
plans.
commute out the other
Yeah,
way.
exactly.
Got to go over to the one
Haven't
by
been
the
going.
Or
Old
fight
mall.
the interstate.
Yeah,
People I work from like right down the road from Chick-fil-A. It's been amazing.
You could walk there. We
remodeling
famously
right
now. Golf club.
wondered if you could throw a baseball to Chick-fil-A. The answer was no. Could you hit a golf ball to Chick-fil-A?
No
Answer
chance.
also no. Yeah. We determined. So, yeah, Rasul Douglas.
He was fine.
As interesting as a conversation about gluten-free bread.
He's solid. I mean, Rasul Douglas, that was one of the better signings last year. Was they picked that guy up mid-season? He was a
It's
freak.
fantastic. They re-signed him.
Yeah, so he's been good. I mean, yeah, another top 24 finish. I mean, averaged 10.3 points per game in the first 9 weeks, 13.1 down the stretch, weeks 10 through 18. So, I mean, yeah, he was great again. And then, 13 pass breakups. That's always a nice little clue to, like, who's actually good. Because
Yes.
that's an indicating stat that this guy is good. This guy is making plays.
It's almost like pressures and sacks. 13 pass breakups, 4 interceptions. You're touching the ball a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, you're getting targeted. You're making plays on the ball.
Let me talk about the next one. 'cause I
Yes,
want
we're
y'all's
starting to
opinion
get
here.
into some actual spicy names here, Bobo.
Richie Grant, safety 14 on the season with the Atlanta Falcons, 70 solos, 53 assists. Wow, that's over 120 totals tackles for the year. 3 TFLs. Is my math right there? Yes, it is 120.
Yeah.
7 PBUs, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 2 interceptions. His highest graded PFF grade of the season was a 69 coverage grade. He played 100% of the snaps
That he did.
in 2022. Played all 17 games. That boy never came off the field.
10.7.
I bet Richie
points per
tired
game.
right now. 10.78 points per game.
Richie Grant's a safety I'm actually a little bit excited about, Addy.
I'm going to tell you, Ben's
Yeah.
been trying to throw Richie Grant in on every single trade offer he's sent me here lately. I know he's not listening to this, so I can tell y'all. But if y'all want Richie Grant, hey,
Go
out
get
there.
him.
he'll put you in.
Yeah, I mean, we were all really bummed about Richie Grant. You know, he was the guy, he was the safety that everyone was after in that, what was it, 2021 class?
That's right.
And then he just didn't get much playing time last year. So, I mean, you have to be hyped to see this type of year from him.
And then when he did play, didn't he play a weird role?
Yeah, he was playing, I think, a little bit of slot cornerback.
Wasn't really a safety role.
A little bit of CB,
like.
yeah. So
played 53% of his snaps in the sweet spot this year. So
he's playing a more traditional safety role this year.
Usage, yep.
We did not see that in his rookie season. Classic sort of post-buy or post-rookie season buy candidate coming off a disappointing campaign. That's a great recipe a lot of times for going and getting players like Isaiah Simmons that have a lot of hype and then end up disappointing. There probably would be a lot of people, a lot of casual IDP managers who will not realize how well Kyle Hamilton ended the season.
Oh, yeah.
You could probably go float some ridiculous offers out there, even now, for Kyle Hamilton, and probably snag them for cheap.
Because everybody's looking at end-of-year ranks. How many points did they have at the end of the season? Nobody's actually looking at beginning of the season versus the end of the season, where they fit in there. Where could we find that?
I believe Addie's Dynasty ranks over at the IDPshow.com. Babo.
I didn't know they had that.
While we're on it, let's just talk about Kyle Hamilton and the usage that he had. Beautiful, by the way. 81% of the snaps in the sweet spot. And if you're not familiar with sweet spot, I think it was Evan Ronda.
That is his term.
That is defensive line plus box plus slot snaps. That is the sweet spot. Those are the snaps that are closer to the line of scrimmage. That means the tackle numbers will be easier to attain. 81% of the snaps.
That's one of the highest numbers I think I've ever heard.
It's up there. I mean, as far as safeties goes, only Amani Hooker, Kyle Duggar. That's it. That's the only two safeties in front of him for that usage. Now, of course, he didn't have the snaps those guys.
Yeah, he didn't have the snap volume, but the usage.
You got to figure next year that's going to completely change. Do we think that is Chuck Clark going to maybe be out of the door?
Let's look up the contract. I'd be curious if they have it out because but Chuck Clark played 100% of snaps, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's solid safety.
Are they going to kick that guy to the curb? I'm worried about assuming that again, Bobo.
Speaking of 100% of snaps, that does a lot for me that Richie Grant didn't come off the field all season.
Yep.
That's really, really cool.
The last year of Chuck Clark's contract is next year. They can save about $4 million by cutting him.
We'll see about that. But yeah, I mean, you're right. If you look at the way he ended the year from week 14 on, 7 points, 26.7 points, 6.75 in week 16, 9 points in week 17, 10 points in week 18. So a really solid finish to the year for him.
Yep.
Well, let's wrap up the first half of the top 24, gentlemen, with number 13. Speaking of sort of like buying players after a disappointing start to their careers, Grant Delpit clocks in at number 13, the safety for the Cleveland Browns. 72 solos, 33 assists, 4 tackles for loss, 10 PBUs, and 4 interceptions. Graded okay, 63.6 overall. Was not good in pass rush, so thankfully he didn't need to do a lot of that. Decent in coverage, 62.5. Pretty good in run defense, 69.3, 68.5 tackle grade, but played 100% of snaps across 17 games, 10.82 points per game. Addy Grant Delpit finally turned into the type of player we were expecting when he was drafted high.
He was really good this year. Yeah, I mean, 10 points per game the first 9 weeks. That turned into 13 points per game weeks 10 through 18. So great second half. The usage was good, 58% of the snaps in the sweet spot. That was 47 on the line, 426 in the box, 155 in the slot. So, I mean, love that usage. And, yeah, I mean, this is his third year?
Third year. Yeah.
The first year was a wash because of the injury.
Yep.
But, yeah, this is we love to see this trend. I think he's undervalued. There's not a lot of people probably that really are paying much attention to Grant Delpit.
Bobo, are we worried at all, though, that this Cleveland Browns defense that fired its defensive coordinator probably is going to have some upheaval at certain positions? Grant Delpit secure in that role?
I listened back to the last episode we were on the other day. It was all three of us, and we were talking about how, I don't remember what week this was, week 14 or 15 or 16, and it was the whole Deion Jones versus Tony Fields weirdness, because all of a sudden Deion Jones had a good game and we're like, we can trust him now, can't we? And you're like, no.
Nope.
Because they're probably going to use Tony Fields. And I'm pretty sure that next week it was like, yep, that's exactly what they did. So, and even when, people forget, I got JOK this offseason and felt like it was highway robbery. Like, I felt like I
Got him for a second, didn't
like
you?
a second-round pick, and I was like, oh, my gosh, I've got a guy who Macri really likes. And if Macri likes a guy, you need to pay attention to him.
Mm-hmm.
But even JOK, like, even through the year, like, there was just times where it was like, wow, he played not a lot this game. Like, what are y'all doing? Man, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do there. Now they're bringing Jim Schwartz in from...
Is that who they hired as the defensive coordinator?
I believe so. I believe that
Wow.
was actually something that happened this week.
That's right, because they were saying it's wheels up for Myles Garrett, but the rest of the defense...
Disagree.
Yeah.
I hardcore disagree. You didn't go back to watch like how rotational his defensive ends were there in Philadelphia. There will be an article coming up here soon where I talk about some of Adams' ranks and some of the guys that are buys and sells and holds. And honestly, I think we're in a pretty primo sell Myles Garrett window right now. I don't know what y'all think about that. I don't care about Kyle Duggar. Honestly, or Kyle Duggar, I'm sorry.
He's next on the list.
I'm so sorry, Josh.
We're skipping
Don't kick me
ahead.
out. I don't really care about Grant Delpit. I actually think there's a small segment of Brown's Twitter that hates Grant Delpit. Like, they think he's terrible, which is funny. I don't know if y'all have ever like actually jumped on Twitter and like.
I think most fans on Twitter hate all their players.
It's possible.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
possible. But anyways, I don't know what y'all think about Myles Garrett.
No, I think that's right. I think it's probably a good time to sell for max value,
He's going to have some kind of freaky off-the-field accident
that's what
may keep him out for an extended period. If it's crashing his car
Yeah.
or trying to kill Mason Rudolph.
COVID.
Yeah, COVID. Yeah.
John Johnson, they do have a potential out with John Johnson this year. So
To answer the question, I do think Grant Delpit is secure. I
Yeah.
think,
I think
Oh,
he's
yeah.
safe.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree.
I'm not saying I want him for like the next, 5 to 7 years, but for the next year or two, yeah.
people
I think
forget.
he's
It was him and McKinney. They were both first
That's
rounders,
right.
I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
And they both had real freak accidents.
This is really a second year.
yes.
Delpit was an Achilles.
Yes.
And then McKinney was an ACL or something, maybe.
Yeah. But John Johnson, Ronnie Harrison, I think both those guys are probably going to be out of town. So, I mean, it's going to be Delpit.
Yeah.
Delpit's the last guy standing. It's kind of like the linebacker room.
Yeah.
He's the only dude left in the room. He's
Yeah.
the Will Smith gif.
Yep.
Gosh, please don't ruin JOK. Please make something to that poor man. My gosh, he's too athletic.
I think he'll be fine.
I know he's not like your quintessential, like, huge middle linebacker, but the guy's so good when he plays. Don't ruin him, Cleveland. You hear
Don't
me?
ruin him. Don't do it.
He's just got to stay healthy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and people have to be good in Cleveland and make the right calls. I just don't trust a lot of defensive coordinators.
Yeah, and I don't
sometimes.
trust that team to make the right calls.
Yeah.
They got Deshaun Watson as the quarterback.
That's true.
So we're gonna
That's a good call, Josh.
Thank you very much.
Speaking
Another
of
good
good
call
calls.
is playing on the RSO platform. We're going to take a quick break so that you can hear more.
Take a big dump.
Yeah, take a big dump, according to Adam. Don't push the button. You don't know what's pulled up right now. Don't push the button. Yeah, there you go.
It's all songs.
Just do it with your mouth.
Good call,
Do
Eddie.
it with your mouth. We're going to take a quick break to hear about RSO and all the wonderful features of that platform. And when we come back, we will be diving into the top 12. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a sec. And we're back. Top 12 boys, top 12 DBs. And we're starting with the player that Bobo spoiled from the last discussion on Grant
Sorry,
Delpit. Kyle Duggar, safety for the New England Patriots. 50 solos, 28 assists, a sack, 5 TFLs, 8 pass breakups, forced fumble recovery, a fumble recovery touchdown, 37 kick return yards, 3 INTs, and 2 INT
Wow.
touchdowns graded very well. A lot of nice dark green across the board on the PFF grades, but 74% of snaps across 15 games. Gentlemen, good for 12.32 points per game. Addy, I know before the season we were saying Kyle Duggar, we can't trust him. Patriots defenders, Bill Belichick, he hates IDP managers, but here we see Kyle Duggar inside the top 12. I think he's a special player.
Yeah, they brought in Jabril Peppers. So I think there was a little bit of like uncertainty there. Like,
Yes.
what's his role going to be? They still had Adrian
Phillips, who they extended, I'm pretty sure.
So yeah, that was concern there. But yeah, 82% of his snaps in the sweet spot. I mean, that is, I think that's the tops among safeties. Yeah, it's. I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah, he was great. He was great, especially down the stretch. averaged 16.3 points per game. Weeks 10 through 18, that was only 9.5 weeks 1 through 9. So really stepped up down the stretch. Love to see that finish. Got to also figure that's going to help him for next year, kind of be solidified in that role. Yeah, Kyle Duggar, I mean, best usage in the league.
Yes. And Bill Belichick loves Kyle Duggar, Bobo.
Yeah.
I think that's an important point. I think he trusted him more down the stretch, and he got to see more playing time.
I think the question is, does the snap percentage go up? Because all these other guys we're talking about, 100%
That's a
of
question
snaps,
I cannot answer.
90% of
And
snaps.
I don't feel
What was he
confident.
at, 70?
74%.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
Get that
what's
guy
really-
on the field, Bill.
Also, what's weird, why did we not see him return at all?
I know.
He was amazing at it in college,
Yep.
you know? I figure we would have, I mean, they got Marcus Jones there now.
Because they got Marcus Jones.
But before that, we
Yeah,
never saw him
that
using
makes
that
sense.
role. Just kind of odd.
Yeah, I wanted to pull up here and see what his snap percentage actually looked like late in the season.
The problem is now we've talked about Duggar so much over the last couple of years. He's going to be a top 8 safety off the board, and I'm not sure that he's going to finish in the top 8. With the weird snaps, you know, does Belichick use him? Does he not? I don't know. It's just not really a dart that I want to throw.
So here's the encouraging part is that early in the season, you were seeing some snap percentages like 32.2, 57.5, 57.6,
I think he was hobbled too.
32.4. But then from week 8 on, he went 90, 72.5, 98, 85, 83, 85, 91,
Wow.
98.
Okay.
So the trend, the arrow was going up near the end of the season for Kyle Duggar, and I think that's why you saw the production kick up as well.
Yeah, if you look at that second half, he was safety number 4, weeks 10 through 18. It was Marcus Jones, Keisean Nixon, Jalen Petre, Kyle Duggar.
Wow.
Keisean Nixon.
2 return yards.
Yeah, Marcus
guys.
Jones. Yeah.
It matters.
Yeah.
It really
It's a cheat
does.
code.
Yeah. So I think
And you should include that in your league. You should that should be in
Yeah.
your scoring. You
Yep.
should count kick return yards. If
I-
they get points for it, you should get points
It's
for it.
Still
a standard
have-
in victory scoring, baby.
that's right. I still have nerves around Kyle Duggar headed into next season because you're trusting the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
And we just never know from week to week. That is such a matchup-based defense.
You can't
I
trust them to play their talent. They have Uche that just
That's right.
they just don't want to play.
What are we doing here?
You sneaky son of a gun. I saw it the other day.
Figured you might be going
I
there.
saw it.
Had to get it off.
Did you see it? You didn't see it. Boo Bam's got his team now. Could you please just move it from Josh to Boo Bam?
If I leave, it removes Boo Bam, and then Boo Bam has to rejoin. So I'm still just like,
Boobam dropped Uche.
oh my God, we're going to have a conversation
Yeah, old
with
Jeff.
old Boo Bam.
Oh, Addy was there to see it.
Stash him right up. Thank you very much. Yum, yum, yum. So I do feel better about Duggar headed into 2023 than I felt probably headed into 2022, but still have questions about what is the usage going to look like.
It's kind of like Houston, to where it's like, which IDPs in New England do we trust? Duggar? Do we trust? I mean, obviously
Judon.
but
It's
outside
not the
Uche.
same thing again, though.
I know he didn't
Where
do
he just
anything.
laid down the second half.
Told you. Adam said that early on in the season, was like, yeah, look at the late in 2021. After their bye, he didn't really do anything. Well, Judon pulled another Judon in 2022.
He's like, guys, I'm kind of tired.
Yeah,
I'm just going to kind of relax a
These
little bit.
red sleeves are getting heavy.
Yep. I just want to take a nap.
Are you trusting Uche at all?
I like Uche. I'm not going to overpay for any New England Patriots IDP.
Uche will probably be a guy in best balls and in dynasty and in redraft next year where people are going to forget about him. And he could have a nice little season again for them, I would say.
Yes, he's got the DL tag on sleeper. Yes, Uche is good.
Uche is very good.
19% pressure rate.
Yes.
Uche is good, and when I was a fan of Uche early on too, like 2020, I think
Yeah.
he had a stretch where he was really good, and I was just like, Bill, why are you not playing this guy more?
If he was anywhere but in New England, Uche is probably a top 15 DL asset.
I feel like they know now, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be Uche.
Cat's
and
out of the
Judon.
bag.
I feel like they know, but I don't think it matters. I think it's just like we're
Wow.
going to do whatever the defense requires week to week to match up with the offense. And sometimes that means Kyle Duggar is going to be on the field. Sometimes it means Uche will be, and sometimes they won't.
Adam likes Uche. Edge 32. He's 24.4 years old. Went to
That
Michigan.
feels about right.
83.1 PFF grade in 2022. You want to know who's the edge 31 for Mr. Adam Markham right now?
Who?
Matt Judon.
Oh,
30.5 years old.
Getting old.
Yeah.
getting old.
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
He's a talented player.
I'm on
Is he
board.
going to get the playing time? That's the question.
Points per snap wise. We switched to an edge.
It's okay.
Edge show.
That's all right.
We're here
Points
for
per
it.
snap wise among edge rushers. This is fun too. James Houston was number 1.
Get out of here, James Houston.
He was insane this year. That's someone that's really interesting in Dynasty. Nick Bosa was number 2. Josh Uche number 3 in points per snap.
Means he's a good player.
Yeah.
Producing on a limited snap basis.
I meant I said points per game. Points per game at the first. That was points per snap.
Points per snap. Yeah, you said points per snap.
So we distilled it even more from points per game.
Beautiful.
Get in these ranks, folks. $5 a month. You can get that Starbucks.
Josh Sweat number 4.
Josh Sweat. Hey, I
Carted
put out,
off.
had the top options from
You
the
all right?
IDP
He's back now.
from the IDP
Championship
playoffs
week.
or from the NFL playoffs. The top scoring IDPs videos just went out over on the IDPshow.com tonight. Check it out. But yeah, Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick both over 15 points in that game against the New York Giants.
Let's go.
So I
Josh
was
Sweat only played what, like 56% of the snaps too.
Yeah.
What's going to happen when that gets up like 70, 75?
is it going to get up that high if they keep this
Yeah, I mean,
defensive line stocked?
well, they're aging.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, which, by the way, Brandon Graham is
Yeah, what
a
an animal.
maniac.
What a
Yeah.
freak.
Have you been listening to his mic'd up stuff?
Oh, no.
Dude, he's jawing
Oh,
the
is he?
whole time. He's fun.
He's a fun player. I remember liking him on the All or Nothing season.
He like 33.
Yeah, he's old.
He's old, yeah.
Off an Achilles.
Well, he was a backup. They moved him into a backup role this year, and he just was like,
He still had double-digit
Feasted.
sacks.
11 sacks,
Yeah.
right?
Crazy.
Hargrave
Crazy.
had 11.
yeah, a lot of those guys had 11.
I
It was
remember
very
seeing
strange.
him on waiver wires, just kind of
I don't
grabbing
know,
him.
yeah. It's like, I'm
Not
not
a chance.
banking on sacks, but if you did, you probably
He
profited
had some.
from it.
I remember he had like some blow up weeks.
Oh,
somewhere.
yeah,
It was
like 40-point weeks.
Chandler Jones
something
weeks.
stupid.
Yeah.
Baba, who's next on the list here? This is a guy, the apple of your eye when it comes to DBs.
Number 11, Jaquan Brisker, safety.
Eli Apple.
Dun, 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 dun.
There's a good tweet I saw about him today I need to share. The Chicago Bears safety, Jaquan Brisker, 73 solos, 31 assists, 4 sacks, 5 TFLs, 2 pass breakups. He shined in his PFF pass rush grade with a 70.2 grade. He played 100% of the snaps in 2022 against 15 games, across 15 games, not against 15 games. And he had 12.37 points per game. Jaquan Brisker, when I turn on the television and watch safeties play football, might be one of the most interesting, thought-provoking, fun,
Stimulating.
whatever type of adjective. Is that right? Adjective?
That is correct.
That you want to use type of player to watch in the NFL right now. I mean, y'all know how I feel about him. I really love.
Is he your safety one?
Sure, why not? Why not? Because
Bold take.
I love
Bold take, Addy.
I love the age. Might be a little time to start fading Derwin just a touch.
Macri just threw his phone at the nearest
It's all right.
syrup lake.
I've got him safety too.
Yeah, I mean,
I think you need to sell Brisker though. Everybody loves some Brisker.
do they?
Everybody loves Brisker, dude.
Well, then
Yes,
sell him.
it's
So
I mean,
close. I'm just thinking about brisket.
he's a DB, so
So
always sell.
Yep.
But man, if you can acquire him for not a lot,
What is
You
what
cannot,
is?
you cannot acquire him.
what in the streets?
You're
I
gonna
haven't been
have
in
to
the
give.
streets.
You're gonna have to give up a second to
I was
get.
gonna say it's a
Oh,
second,
I'm not
right?
giving a second for him.
You're gonna
man.
have to.
What did he?
Because you took him in the 4th, 5th of your rookie drafts.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yep.
Yeah, no, thank you.
But yeah, I mean, he was.
What are
he
you
was-
trading Brisker for right now, player wise? You going to take a second for him? Somebody gives you a second for Brisker?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You will too?
Yeah.
Yeah, cash that out.
What about a player?
Oh, I don't know.
Can you
The
come up
player
with any
trades are so
IDPs right
hard.
now?
That is tough.
I'm going to get in the ranks.
What-
I
What's
mean,
he-
if can I get Rashad Bateman for Jaquan Brisker?
Oh, please.
I'll
yes.
try that. I'll try that out.
Yes.
Can I get Hollywood Brown for Jaquan Brisker? Let me do that too.
Trayvon Walker or Jaquan Brisker?
I'll take Brisker.
That's a good question.
They're close. They're literally right next to each other, Bob.
Yeah, I think he was trying to
Stop
pull.
looking.
Yeah. That's close. I mean, I think you definitely have more of a sure thing right now, at least with Jaquan Brisker. But what if Trayvon Walker taps into that raw potential So I'd probably take Walker.
Do want to give a shout out to Lackawanna Community College. That's where Jaquan Brisker started his college career.
Wow.
Lackawanna?
Lackawanna Community
Wow,
College.
is that in the ranks as well?
It is.
Oh my God.
I
Okay,
just
that's
saw
nuts. That's nuts.
Yeah. So he was
There's too
there
much-
before he went to Penn State.
Officially too much information in these ranks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jaquan Brisker, we talk about safeties that we're excited about. Brisker's very high on that list, but sounds like you might be getting a little overhyped right now, Bobo.
He's still safety.
Reminds me a lot of Mr. Jeremy Chin.
Yeah.
You know, you remember the hype for Jeremy Chin.
I'm going to tell y'all something.
Do you have both Chin and Brisker?
No, I don't have either of them right
Okay.
now. I have a bunch of old people named Rodney McLeod and Rayshawn Jenkins.
Their knees hurt. They got icy hot.
Way back when, me, Adam, and Ben told you about a guy named Jeremy Chin, and you probably should have drafted him then. And this was way back right after the NFL draft had actually happened.
Remember you guys did our recap pod.
We put you on. We put you on to
We
Jeremy
were
Chin
babies.
way before it was cool. Adam put you on trading Jeremy Chin before it was cool. There's a reason you should listen. There's a reason you should get in these ranks. There's a reason you should pay attention. But you're right about Jaquan Brisker. Don't fall too head over heels for any of these guys, because at the end of the day, they are still all safeties. And really, when you talk about safeties and DBs and cornerbacks, I really see them as all points per game wise. I don't care I don't care what their name is. I don't care how old they are, whatever. Who can get me the most points per game? How much am I spending on them for whatever contract league I might be in?
That would be an RSO league, Bobo.
Because it's not necessarily like defensive end where there's like Max Crosby who's way at the top, but then your DN 15 is like 200 points below him. You know, the froth at the top with these DBs is there's a lot of
There's a
them in
lot of
there.
options that are pretty similar.
I don't know if that made sense at all to
I
any
liked
of
the
you
froth
all,
at the
but
top.
I know you did.
Love froth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Big froth boys.
Let me read the next one for you,
That's
Josh.
65% of the snaps for Jaquan Brisker in the sweet spot. That is good usage. I mean, everything that we
Great
care
player.
about,
Exciting player.
he checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
But
Sell his ass.
sell it.
Get him out of here.
He gone.
Get him off your
wanna
teams.
face again,
Yeah, Jaquan, get out of here. Go back to Lackawanna Community College, whatever it was.
But he-
Lackawanna.
Lackawanna.
That's in a TV show somewhere. Lackawanna.
Maybe
Gosh.
I got trolled. Maybe I put some wrong info in there, and
He went to Greendale Community College, which is definitely from the show with Joel McHale.
Bayside High.
God. All right, Bobo. Who's the next guy on the list here?
Oh gosh, I'm afraid I may be down the Lackawanna community.
Okay, Bobby's
No,
sucked into the
I'm back in.
Reddit rabbit hole.
The number 10 safety for the 2022 season, Donovan Wilson for the Dallas Cowboys. 77 solos, 24 assists, 5 sacks, 7 TFLs, 2 pass breakups, and 1 interception to go with a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. He shined in pass rush coverage. In just pass rush with an 85.3 grade. He played 84% of snaps in 2022 across 17 games, and he had 11.54 points per game.
Okay, so Addy, I remember making this point when I argued for J-Ron Curse as my start of the week, one of the late season episodes that we did. Do you have the splits? Yes, you have the splits for Donovan Wilson. Give us the early and late season split for Donovan Wilson, because I remember finding that very interesting.
It ain't great. 15.7 points per game, weeks 1 through 9. Weeks 10 through 18, that dropped to 9 points per game.
Yeah, so start of the year hot, faded down the stretch. I think this top 10 finish is very reflective of that early season stretch of dominance there, because you said 15 to start the season and 9 to tail out, so that averages out right to about 10,
He was
11,
someone
10
that
points per game.
Wasn't very useful for you the second half.
Oh,
It
my
really
gosh.
wasn't. You wanted J-Ron Curse down the stretch.
Scranton is Pennsylvania's 6th most populous city, located in Lackawanna County. It is where the Dunder Mifflin Scranton offices are located. I remember that because early on, I believe it's season 3 of The Office.
Dude, that's real. He went to Penn State.
Yes,
Oh my
so
God.
that's accurate. You
didn't get
but I knew I
trolled.
heard it because Michael takes Jan with him to see the client, and they end up getting drunk at a Chili's and selling paper to the head of the Lackawanna County Board of Education. You're welcome.
Stop
You're
hitting the
welcome,
table,
listeners.
Bobby. Stop hitting the table. Percussive sounds are killing me right now.
It's pretty sick. That's really good memory, Bob.
That's a
Thank
great
you.
memory.
A little scary. When's the
Not
last time
much
you-
I know.
Did you just watch The Office?
Dude,
He's like, I haven't seen it in 8 years.
there's
but it's
something that people
still
say
trapped.
that's like, if somebody watches The Office, you don't ask if you watched The Office. You ask if you watch The Office because you just assume you
you
never
just keep
quit.
watching it.
At the end of the season,
You're addicted.
You're still watching.
Start over again.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm in season 4 right now. Just continuing through.
He
For the
hasn't,
20th time.
yeah,
Yeah.
hasn't seen a single movie.
Dude, me and my wife, we had she got a little, I don't know, something on her phone, like some type of little trivia game or whatever. We were going down to South Carolina not long ago, and like an hour in, she's like, you want to be done yet? I'm like, no, like, let's go until
Was
I
it
miss one.
Office trivia.
Oh, just killing.
You weren't missing them?
Dude,
Wow.
just crushing. Just crushing.
We gotta
Wow.
get this guy on like a TV show for
Yeah.
like money.
Can I
Office
continue a
trivia.
long story, make it longer? We went to an office trivia at a bar here in
Oh, wow.
Bowling Green, and she took some of her friends. And there was one question brought up about how many points did you have to come up with to get Andy to get a Nard dog on his butt, tattooed on his butt. And the girl was like, it's 2,000 points. I was like, you're wrong. It's 5,000, but we can go with yours if that's what you want to feel like you
Wow,
want to
he
do.
had to like massage the ego
She
of
was-
people who were
She
wrong.
was dead wrong.
Dang.
Never
So,
talked to her
would he-
since.
Bobby is absolutely Ken Jennings, just literally crushing the buzzer on Jeopardy as soon as the Office question is asked, like before they can even get it out.
Oh, I watched some Celebrity Jeopardy the other day with Alex Trebek and Burt Reynolds.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Will Ferrell is
Will
Alex
Ferrell.
Trebek, right?
Suck it, Trebek.
Sean,
Yeah.
what is it?
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
Yeah.
That's a good
You almost went Sean O'Connery, I think. Which is probably a different person. So Donovan Wilson, yeah, not really super interested in Donovan Wilson.
Nah.
No, late round pick. I mean, yeah, I would, if you have a chance to sell this guy, I would definitely do it. Although, I mean, could he get a, just did it, I know. But
Great eyes.
I'm not sure about, I'm not positive the contract situation. But
I think Wilson might be there.
I wish I had a picture of that.
What is the? Do you have it in the? You have it in the ranks.
I don't have his.
Oh, wow.
We're still updating some of the
Yeah,
stuff.
we're gonna
It's a
let-
lot of shit, folks.
It's a
They're
lot.
$4.99 now.
Yeah, it just dropped at 25 cents. Are we looking up? Oh, yeah.
Yes,
So
hold on, bro.
he has a 4-year contract, and he'll be a free agent in 2023.
There you go.
Yeah, so he's
I mean-
UFA.
So maybe.
Yeah, could be interesting. Different team, you're saying, or coming back to the Cowboys?
No, he's a UFA this offseason.
You don't think he's coming back?
I don't
The
think so.
Cowboys don't have a lot of money. They got to do some
Kurtz.
stuff.
They got Hooker
Yeah.
still there, right?
I think so.
Curse
So-
has played good too.
Kurtz
Yeah.
has played good.
Let's have the Derwin James conversation, gentlemen. Number 9
Let's
on
not.
the season.
I bet it would make Macri really mad if we just skipped over him.
He's one of the
Sucks.
best listeners we have. We got to at least play to his ego a little bit here. 64 solos, 51 assists, 4 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 6 PBUs, 2 INTs, 2 forced fumbles, 90.9 pass rush grade, in the 70s across the board on the rest of the PFF grades. 95% of snaps across 14 games played. Keep in mind, the percentage you hear is the percentage of snaps they played in the games in which they appeared. We're not talking about total snap count because obviously Derwin missed 3 games, so he didn't play 95% of snaps, missing 3 games, but he was not coming off the field that frequently. When he was in, 14.18 points per game. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a stud. But it's like, do you want to pay sticker price for Derwin James?
No, of course not.
So it's like Derwin's in a tough spot. I think anyone that would be at the top of DB Mountain is in a tough spot because it's not a player we're going to be interested in.
You can probably get a first for Derwin James, right?
You think so?
I mean, if any safety is worth it, it
Yeah.
would be Derwin James.
It's not the time now to get a 2023 first, but you could probably get somebody to throw you a
Get a
24 first.
Someone that is convinced himself that they're a safety away, right?
Oh, exactly. Yep.
Find a contender that's got it, 24 first.
Is anyone ever a safety away?
I mean, when you're talking about Derwin James, someone
Yeah.
like that, this guy, 0
Missed-
games under 5 points.
Missed 3 games, though.
Tell
And
them they're a
those were at the
safety
end of the
away.
season, were they not?
Yeah, but still, 0 games under 5 points. Only had 3 games under 10 points, 11 games over 10 points.
That's nice.
7 games over 15 points.
And the reason why is because of he had big plays this year. And have we seen any blue PFF grades yet? I think Derwin is the only person in here to have an above 90 grade for anything, a 90.9 pass rush grade. I don't think I've seen that
I was
yet.
gonna say I don't think I'm scrolling back up. I don't see anything
pretty
in the
awesome.
in the 90s yet. See a couple 87s, some 88s. Jalen Thompson had a 90.3 tackle grade.
Okay.
That was the only other person that graded a 90 thus far out of this list.
Derwin is 26.5 years old.
Yeah, I mean, what else
He's in
needs
his
to be
prime.
said about Derwin?
Yeah. I mean, 15
He's-
points per game this year, 14.5 and 21. PFF grades, 75.5 this year, 78.1 in 21. The tackles, 115 tackles this year, 118 tackles in 2021. I mean, that's amazing.
He's great.
He's great.
He's
There was
great.
a time where we thought we might never see this again.
Yep.
Thankful for it.
Yeah.
Same with Keenan Allen.
Well,
you know?
let's play the game of who would you rather have? Number 9 on our list, Derwin James, or number 8, Talanoa Hufanga, safety for the 49ers.
This is easy for me.
Derwin.
Yeah.
Derwin?
I think Talanoa may be one of the most overrated.
Overrated.
safeties.
Big sale.
I think so.
So 66 solos, 31 assists, did have 2 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 9 PBUs, 4 picks, an interception, touchdown, and 2 forced fumbles, 96% of snaps across 17 games played, 11.8 points per game. I think, Bobo, what it was is that Hufanga was such a fun surprise that sometimes we maybe elevate these guys a little too much because, wow, Hufanga was fun. We didn't really have super high expectations, and he came in and blew away even, I think, the most optimistic fans' outlook.
I mean, does he pop at times? Absolutely. I mean, he definitely is a big play, fun type of player, but he's still going to have Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner there with him. Not to mention Al-Shair also, who looks very good at times. It's like you're going to read in the article that I wrote based off of Adams' ranks. I basically said, if you can find somebody who likes Hufanga more than you do, let him rip, man.
And you will.
Yeah.
He's got the long hair.
He's got the name. It's not a name like
He is
Jonathan Owens. It's
Troy
not a-
Polamalu 2.0.
Yeah.
And people are going to fall in
That's
love
what
with
I
that.
called him in the article. Discount Palomalo.
There you go.
16.1 points per game, weeks 1 through 9, 9.8, 10 through 18.
Yeah.
Really came down to earth. He's
People
the
are go-
Mathieu Judon of DBs.
And I think Tom Kislenberry has said this before, but when players start out really well, I think that like people just hold on to that, cling on to
Yeah.
that. Look at the way he started out. Week 1, 29 points. Week 2, 18 points. Week 3, 7.5. Week 4, 25.7. Week 5, 19. So, I mean, he was amazing to start the year, but yeah, I mean, he absolutely fizzled down the stretch.
Well, and because
That's a hard pace to maintain.
and that's when
that's
people
blistering.
check out.
Yeah.
Week 8, people start checking out.
Yeah.
They see they're losing. They're 1-7. Those people are done.
So what do they remember?
Yep.
They remember Hufanga being
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
They're going to draft
Remember
him.
that
as a-
hair flying around?
Jumping up, timing the snap. And I
Yeah.
mean, I was getting Palomalu flashbacks
Yeah.
in that game against the
Bears, probably.
against the Cowboys, the recent one.
The recent one.
Yeah, because they were making the comparison as well to Palomalu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what he does.
he's a playmaker. But yes, I think he's the most overhyped safety right now.
Yeah.
You think it might be Brisker? I think Hufanga's probably.
What's
They're neck and
Hufanga's
neck.
draft capital?
I would rather have Brisker than Hufanga.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I would as well. So
Let's also look at the usage for Hufanga.
yeah, what was the usage, Addy?
Just 42% of the snaps in the sweet spot.
That's less than I thought.
Yeah. So that's not ideal.
No.
I mean, for someone that's being heralded as like a top 3 safety,
Yeah. That's not great usage. You get the snaps. You got 96% of snaps,
He's
17
gotta make
games
the big
played.
plays.
Yep. And he did. He had 2 forced fumbles, INT touchdown, 4 picks, 9 pass breakups, 5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. So he checked the box in the big play department this year.
Hufanga was a 5th-round draft pick.
There you go.
Yeah.
Was he a rookie last year? When was he drafted?
He's 23 years old. I think he was.
I think he was drafted last year, wasn't
No,
he?
he was drafted in 2021, I believe. I believe
Okay.
this was his second season out of USC.
USC, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, out of USC. There you go. All right, next up, gentlemen, Julian Love, safety for the New York Giants. 79 solos, 45 assists, a sack, 6 TFLs, 5 pass breakups, fumble recovery, 2 INTs. Best grade on PFF was a 78.2 tackle grade, 95% of snaps, 16 games played, 12.56 points per game. Addy, I have a blind spot for Julian Love. don't really know what to make of this guy. Can you give us some insight into alignment, splits, anything like that for Mr. Love?
Going to be a free agent this year.
Oh, okay.
So-
Very interesting.
So, I mean, I don't really like that, honestly. But he played 47% of his snaps in the sweet spot. So, I mean, that's solid. Maybe that goes up in a new spot. But, yeah, I mean, he's not someone that I'm really targeting.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. He kind of leaves me cold. I don't really know what to think of Julian Love.
Yeah.
That Giants
I
team
mean,
is still...
this is the first chance he's really, like, had value, right?
Yeah.
You weren't able to get anything for this
And now
guy.
he's going to a new team.
Now he's going to a new team.
Safety switching teams. I mean,
Yeah.
have we seen that be successful that often?
Not much.
I mean, I can't think of anyone right off the top. I mean, Rodney McLeod, I guess, going from Philadelphia to Indianapolis.
You think they retain him?
No, I don't. I think this team is still rebuilding. I think they're still digging out from the Gettleman era. I think they got some tough decisions with Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley. Do you bring those guys back? If you do, that's some big money you're committing to those guys. So
You think Saquon's gone?
they are open to using the franchise tag, which I think would be probably the smart move.
So they're going to extend Daniel Jones?
I think they're in on Daniel Jones, man. I think that's a mistake. If it were me, I would franchise tag Daniel Jones, try to get another quarterback in there that I could develop, and then let Saquon walk.
I guess it was Gettleman who had said that, like, our priority is to bring back Daniel Jones. We hope we can bring back Saquon. It's like, wow, y'all are really about to push Saquon to the curb.
So Gettleman's gone, so it's probably Joe Shane.
Sorry,
Yeah,
yes.
who's their GM.
Yes,
Brian
yes.
Daboll, Joe Shane did not draft either of these guys, so I don't think they're stuck with that sunk cost bias of like, well, we drafted them, we've invested all this time and resources into them. Do we really want to let them walk? I don't think they care, but this magical run they had to the playoffs, right, into the second round, beating the Vikings.
It's a lot of coaching.
I worry that they're going to think, well, let's just run it back.
Yeah.
Obviously, this worked this year. If we get another year with these guys, we can make strides, and I think that would be a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel like you can get much more out of that team than what you got.
You punched way above your weight all season, great season, but don't take your eye off the ball. This is still a team that is rebuilding, and it's going to take some more time before you're a true contender.
I kind of hope Saquon goes somewhere else.
Me too.
I would
Be
love
fun.
to see him go somewhere.
Yep.
Kansas City, please.
Oh,
You
can
better
you
stop it.
imagine?
Hey, Isaac Pacheco's he's good there. Isaiah will be fine.
Did you say Isaac Pacheco?
Did I?
Yeah, you
I'm
did.
sorry. It's now 11:40.
It's late. It's late.
Isaac's
Damn,
his
it
son.
is.
Let's talk about the next guy here, Bobo. Why don't you tee us up since this is from your formerly favorite team? Are you a Chargers fan now?
Aaron, first off, you're fired because it says
For the Panthers,
Jalen
yeah.
Ramsey, cornerback for the Panthers.
He's been traded. We didn't tell you.
I didn't
the
know
news
that.
broke while
This
we were
is
recording.
I
crushing.
saw that they may try and get rid of him.
It's fantastic. It's time to.
Hey, he is him though.
That's true.
Whatever.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
64 solos, 24 assists, 2 sacks, 4 TFLs, 18 pass breakups,
18.
That is a lot, Jalen.
2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 4 INTs, 5 punt return
That's
yards.
hilarious.
That's
He returned like one punt.
I guess so.
That's great.
They did have some trouble with Tutu Atwell some this year. I don't have to tell you that.
No, you don't. No, you do not. A lot of blue on these PFF grades, though, Bobo.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with that a little bit, though. Run defense grade of 91. Okay, that's fine. Pass rush grade of 91. 99% snap count, 17 games played, 11.94 points per game. I thought Jalen Ramsey really regressed this year. As a Rams fan who actually watched at least the first half of the season, came back to earth. I think that pass breakups is a result of, he was never really Ramsey Island, a la Darrelle Revis. I think that teams finally saw that Jalen Ramsey, is a guy that he's okay in coverage, but, you can actually, DK Metcalf can actually put up a 100-yard game on him. I don't know. I don't know what y'all's take is on Ramsey. I'm fine if they want to ship him off at this point.
Yeah.
I think his best years are behind him.
For sure.
It seems like he can still put up some good games. He still has those elite traits, but he's at that age now where he's going to get beat a lot more than we're used to seeing.
And the star thing was a 1-year deal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he only played 213 snaps in the slot last year, 725 out wide. So
Wow.
that's 32% in the sweet spot. But he was still very productive.
He was great. I mean, look at those stats. The dude put up numbers. I think it's because he was being targeted a lot because
Yeah.
Ramsey Island is no longer a thing.
Yeah.
Kind of a baby,
Well,
too.
and I mean, 18 pass breakups. I mean, we
Yeah.
reward players
Yes.
for that, which you should. That again, like I
It's a
mentioned
great
earlier,
stats for DBs.
But
shows skill.
But it's very Jordan Brooks-esque. I know that's bad to say because Ramsey has some good PFF grades, but it can be indicative of things to come. When
I think these grades are going to look much
Oh
worse
yeah,
next year.
when these corners start getting targeted later on in their careers, I'm not saying that Ramsey's like super slow at this point, but not only is he a good sell in the NFL, but if somebody wants to buy Ramsey right now, let him have him.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing with our next finisher here. Number 5 overall, Desmond King, the second cornerback for the Houston Texans. This was another case, Bobo, of getting propped up by a lot of return yardage here. But he also put up 59 solos, 30 assists, 10 TFLs. My God, Desmond King, chill out a little bit. 8 pass breakups, 2 INTs, 2 fumble recoveries, 50 kick return yards, 309 punt return yards. Best PFF grade was 80 on the pass rush grade. Played 78% of snaps across 17 games played. Good for 12.32 points per game. Eddie, similar to how we felt about Jonathan Owens, Desmond King, Texans, no thanks.
Right. And Desmond King's getting up there in age now, too. When that started happening, it's just hard to trust these guys year to year. Hard to trust what role they're going to have. I don't even know if he's going to be back in Houston.
Yeah.
So that's a bad team in Houston. So is he going to get much of an opportunity on a better team? I don't know. But the usage was fine. I mean,
They could save a little bit of money by cutting him. So I would not be surprised to see him maybe hit the bricks with a new coach coming in. Could save about $3 million UFA in 2024. Addie's choking. We may be losing him. I think he may be retiring for a second here. But Bobo, none of these Houston DBs am I super excited about. I think that this is a great example of a team that was very profitable with the DB role for 2022, but fade Desmond King if you got him. If you can get anything for this guy, I think you probably need to sell.
Older quarterback, he's just a situation where it's just like we were talking about with Houston. He's just prime sale candidate. We just talked about who was the other guy. Not Petre, he's the one to hold.
Jonathan Owens.
Yeah, Jonathan Owens. Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey.
Desmond King is cool. Punt return yards are cool. Kick return yards are cool. But, that team played a lot. Adam's back.
Yeah, Adam's back. Addy, okay, baby? You got me nervous there for a second. I thought you
Went
were
down the wrong pipe.
I was gonna say, were you going into the light there?
I am recovering from a little bit of an illness. So
Okay. Is it raining yet?
It's pouring.
Is it really?
Nice.
Wow, we can't hear anything with these headphones on.
Just got a little choked up. Sorry about that. Hope
That's
I didn't
all right.
Scare anyone home?
He was choked up about our Desmond King take because he's a King truther.
Yeah.
Big Desmond King fan. Yeah. We're just saying, I would be curious if there's a way to highlight these teams that maybe, like Green Bay, like Houston, could produce multiple top DBs. Because we've seen that here with these guys. But I don't necessarily like the guys. It's like Jonathan Owens, Desmond King, Adrian Amos, Rasul Douglas. I mean,
it just speaks to more, don't chase a defensive back.
That's
If
right.
You can find guys like this on, in bunches on certain teams. I mean, do that.
yeah. So I'd be curious. Maybe we talk to Macri and say, hey, Mac
What's
Daddy,
up with this? Yeah.
what's up with this? Why are there some teams that have these certain positions that produce across the board multiple top 24 finishers? So, Bobo, let's talk about the next guy here. One of the most pleasant surprises, a guy that always screamed value, upside, and I think as instrumental as some of those offensive guys were to the Jags making it to the divisional round this year, Rayshawn Jenkins, our number 4 finisher, the safety for the Jags, was one of the reasons this defense really came together. Fantastic season from Rayshawn Jenkins. 73 solos, 43 assists. He threw in a sack, 3 TFLs, 12 pass breakups, 3 picks. He had an INT touchdown, 2 forced fumbles, 97% of snaps across 17 games. Good for 12.75 points per game. Rayshawn Jenkins was awesome, Bobo, and you didn't have to pay a lot to get him on your team.
He was really good down the stretch, too. My only knock on Rayshawn Jenkins, other than his age, is he was propped up by one really heavy scoring week. I mean, what was it like?
49 points.
Exactly.
Goodness gracious.
I mean, that's a good majority of what happened for Rayshawn. If you've got anybody in your league who pays attention to year-end stuff, Rayshawn Jenkins is a perfect candidate to go trade for a third. Because I don't really know what type of staple to the defense Rayshawn Jenkins really is. He's fine. I mean, if the Jaguars still have him under contract through 2023, I'm okay to throw a dart at him again for next year, late in my drafts. But
yeah, so
he's one of those guys where it's like, I'm thankful for you this year.
Potential out. They could save $6.25 million
They
against
might
the cap.
do that. That's a lot.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I think with how well he played this year, I think it's probably the safe bet that he's back in 2023.
I agree. I think they keep him around.
What was the usage like, Addy? Because I'm curious. It felt like Rayshawn was a guy that I associate in my mind with box snaps, but that may not be the case. What was his usage like?
No, you're right. 60% of the snaps in the sweet spot.
There we go.
32 on the line, 437 in the box, 397 at free safety, 201 in the slot. So that's really good usage.
That's beautiful. Rayshawn Jenkins, yeah. Sort of like what's the age on Rayshawn? Is he getting up there?
29.
Oh, is he? He's
probably will be 30 when the season starts.
Yeah. So he's
That surprised me too.
I put him in the bucket with Honey Badger of good, savvy vet. Feel fine if I'm sprinkling those guys in at the end of a draft to help solidify a DB room.
Don't draft him in a startup.
Yeah.
No.
Do not do that.
And Rayshawn's gotten kind of better as his career's gone on. As he's gotten older, I feel like the last couple of years he's been usable.
I remember there was a lot of Rayshawn hype going into 2021.
Yeah.
And he was okay, but this was the year. It was that kind of buy the dip essentially with Rayshawn Jenkins because it just took another year. All the Jags assets took a big dip with Suburban Meyer there as the head coach. And obviously a lot of those assets surged this year under Doug Peterson.
Led all safeties in pass breakups.
Wow.
Not cornerbacks, but safeties.
12 PBUs. That's and 3 INTs.
Andre Cisco played good at times too for
did.
the Jaguars.
Yeah, I like Cisco.
What about our boy long-haired Andrew
Wingard.
Wingard. Yeah, we do love some long-haired babies, but Wingard was definitely losing some production to Rayshawn Jenkins this season. Let's talk about a couple cornerbacks here at the 3 and 2 spot, gentlemen. So number 3 on the list, Marcus Jones, cornerback for the New England Patriots. Go back and check out the video that we put out of Sig's amazing call back from April when he talked up Marcus Jones, and that came to fruition beautifully. I think may have had the single highest output of any game this season with his 50 burger.
Wow.
59 in week 16.
Yeah, probably.
Victory scoring.
Yeah, probably won a lot of people their weeks.
Yeah.
Except in the XFFL.
Wow.
Where he did not.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's true.
Probably one of the very few teams that did not advance with Marcus Jones on
Shout
the
out
roster.
Ben.
Yeah. Shout out Ben. Well, you said he doesn't listen, so I'm not worried about it.
Sorry I did that to you, Ben.
That's why. It's because he
That's
doesn't
right.
listen.
That's right. He doesn't listen. Doesn't listen.
That's true.
So Marcus Jones, though, Bobo, was a revelation late in the season. 34 solos, 5 assists, 2 TFLs, 7 pass breakups, 2 INTs, interception touchdown, fumble recovery, 645 kick return yards, 362 punt return yards, and 1 punt return touchdown. Only played 37% of snaps across 15 games, but 14.85 points. We talk about cheat codes in fantasy football. This guy was truly the ultimate cheat code for 2022.
Oh, absolutely. Especially down the stretch. I mean, there's a lot of people who, were taking victory laps pretty early on about Marcus Jones. I'm actually trying to pull something up real quick because I wanted to look at him. It won't pull it up on Sleeper. I know he caught a couple balls down the stretch too.
He
He
did.
had like a 50-yard touchdown, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
I mean, I think he had maybe less than like 10 receptions, but that will be a pretty hot topic, I feel like, going into next year for some rule changes. People are wanting to start incorporating these IDPs if they start playing offense. Like, I don't know.
This dude averaged 24.3 points per game weeks 10 through 18.
That's 24.
0.3.
Oh, my God. That's nuts.
I mean, he's the reason you're probably in your championships or in your semifinals
Oh.
or whatever. What was
He
the
did
big?
miss week 17, which that was unfortunate.
That
but-
hurts.
Wow, so the big week was semifinal week.
It was.
Yeah.
So what do we take away, though, from Marcus Jones? I mean, best ball target?
I can tell you, in a lot of channels, people want to know about Marcus Jones. Like, everybody wants to know, like, they either want to flex because they grabbed him or they want to, talk about how valuable he is.
Again, lump him into the bucket of New England Patriots IDPs that who knows if he's going to get the kick return? Who knows if he's going to get the offense? And if it's just on the defensive side, it wasn't there, guys. 37% of snaps across 15 games.
Because you like
Rookie, though, right?
Rookie, yes.
So I do expect that role to improve and him get more snaps.
And I think he could retain the punt and kick return. I don't
I
think
mean,
we're
I
going to
think-
see him on the offensive side.
Based on how successful he was, man, yeah, I don't think he's one of the most electric returners in the league.
That's true. I don't know how you pull that guy off of that duty, but it does make me nervous. How you pull it's stinky. I don't know how you pull that guy out of that role.
create all the board
Man, I miss
sounds
rolls so
tonight.
much, man. I didn't get to eat rolls at Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Rolls are good.
So rolls are so good.
How did you get to that? It was just a fart noise?
Take him out of that role. I went back and tried to pivot to something else that wouldn't conjure up imagery, and then I got to think about dinner rolls that I missed tremendously. So Marcus Jones, Addy, though. Okay, so if the streets are talking and they want to know about Marcus Jones, outlook. What's the reality of the situation here?
I think he's someone you should probably maybe try and buy. I mean,
Ooh, that's spicy.
just because what are people valuing him as? You're not hearing him talked about among like the Petrays and the Derwins and the, yada, yada, yada.
See, I think the people love them some Marcus Jones
You think so?
because he probably got him into some championship games, and they've got a lot of love for this guy. So I think the value is going to be through the roof.
Well, if he's going to be pricey, then no.
It's the kind of reverse of what you were talking about with Tom K of like remembering the beginning of the season. It's peak in theory. So you remember the beginning and you remember the end.
Yeah.
Because
And
the people
so-
that sucked in the beginning didn't have Marcus Jones because they probably quit at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we remember Hufanga starting the season strong. The kind of reverse of that is people remembering Marcus Jones because he averaged almost 25 points a game down the stretch.
It was only 8 weeks 1 through 9. So
yeah.
I mean,
he was a non-factor. So I think on
You're
its
probably right. I just feel like people are going to be a little skittish because it's a cornerback.
yes,
Right.
That I think is the argument of yes, I think his value will be really high because of what he did at the end of the season, but there will be some trepidation because it's New England. It's a cornerback. So what do? I think it all depends on price. If we say he's a buy, what's a fair price to buy Marcus Jones at? What are you willing to spend?
I'm hoping I can get him for a third.
You're not paying a second, though.
No.
Not for a corner.
Nope.
I think I'd be fine giving a fourth, but I don't want to
And
give
even
a
a
third.
third, I'm not crazy about. I've got plenty of thirds.
Talking about the safeties that you can get in that third round. Yeah, that'd be a tough pill to swallow. I don't think I can give a third. Would you
But-
give a fourth, Bobo? Would you give a fourth for Marcus Jones?
Yeah, I'd give a fourth. I don't know if I would give a third or not.
But no one's going to trade him. No one's going to
That's
trade
what I'm
him away
saying.
for a fourth.
Yeah.
So I mean, you have to pay up a little bit if you want to acquire the guy.
I'd give a 24 third.
Interesting.
Sure.
Yeah, I do that.
Okay. Well, there you go, folks.
Just
If
for the
you're
chance
wondering,
that if this guy starts playing, it's same thing with Nixon. But I think Marcus Jones has a much better chance to actually get that playing time than Nixon, right?
and make sure your league has points for kick return and punt return.
If he's not,
he's not
no.
even in the discussion.
He's not even on this list.
No.
Again, a rookie, and weeks 10 through 18 averaged 24 points per game.
He was a third-round pick.
It's crazy.
Yep. Second on the list here is a guy that you probably would see finish first in a lot of places. It's very close between him and the first place finisher. L'Jarius Sneed, cornerback for the Kansas City Chiefs. 75 solos, 33 assists, 3.5 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 11 PBUs, 3 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, 3 INTs. Addy, I'm going to let you speak on it. 96% of snaps, 17 games played, 13.26 points per game. L'Jarius Sneed was just freaking awesome.
That's my dog, man. I love that dude. He's amazing. I mean,
That's an OG Big 3 IDP favorite.
When you think of this show, that should be someone that probably pops up in your head, L'Jarius Sneed. We've been on L'Jarius Sneed since he came into the league. But yeah, I mean, he's just gotten better every single year, you know. So yeah, I mean, let me look at the usage.
I was gonna say usage for L'Jarius would be interesting because I feel like it has to be pretty high. We know he's primarily a slot corner, Bobo, so I would think the sweet spot usage has to be pretty high.
He did slow down a little bit down the stretch. 16.7 points per game weeks 1 through 9, 12.7 points per game
Still
weeks
pretty good.
10 through 18, but yeah, still solid. Usage-wise, 67% of the snaps in the sweet spot.
It's beautiful. You love to see it.
Which alludes to his 82.2 pass rush grade and then 3.5 sacks on the season. That's a dynamic defense. You know, he's got Willie Bolton and Nick Gay.
That's I love that combo.
I like that a lot. He's got those linebackers to help him there.
Coming into a contract year. Very important year for L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah, I kind of like that too. But I'll be devil's advocate with the whole Trent McDuffie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is some.
They did switch the usage.
There is some usage change. I wonder the last couple games, like playoff games. I wonder what that usages look like. That'd be interesting to know.
Yeah.
I'd
Maybe
say
we
it's
could
probably
ask
still
Johnny
pretty
Mack about
heavy with L'Jarius Sneed. But anyways, yeah, I mean, that's something to pay attention to. L'Jarius Sneed is definitely going to have his hand out here soon. He's going to want to get paid, and he deserves to.
Where do you selling for? We've had this conversation a lot, I think. You're wanting a second.
Mm-hmm.
No one's giving you that. Are you gonna sell for?
What did
Maybe
I-
you get that. I see Twitter. I see stuff on Twitter. Like there's some just whack ass leagues out there. I guess.
What I give you?
You gave me 2/3.
2/3.
I was very
happy.
happy. I'm happy with that. I think that's
Sure,
fair.
won a third and fourth.
Maybe it was a third and a fourth.
I don't like that as much.
I think it was a.
think
I
you
think it
lost
was.
I
the
don't
trade down.
remember.
I think it was a third this year and a third next year.
I was
thought.
desperate. I was going for it down the stretch.
2/3 are nice.
And he's a cornerback where I have
But
him
yes,
now.
I want a second. I'm going to the manager and saying DB 1 or 2 on the season.
Mm-hmm.
If you can find that manager that's like, I'm close.
Yep.
I just need some playmakers.
Need a cornerback.
Exactly. Here's your cheat code. We're in a CB required league. L'Jarius Sneed going into a contract year.
Yep.
That's the narrative I think you're spinning is this guy was DB 1 or DB 2 going into a contract year on a good team. So I would try to get a second round
You have
pick.
to figure this is probably your best sell window.
It absolutely
right?
is.
Can he get much better? I mean, he was amazing
No,
this year.
he can only go
Safety
down.
too, right? I
Yes.
Because there's a chance that he has a new scenery.
Yep.
There's a chance that Kansas City can't retain him.
New scenery, new role next year. Even if they do keep
Who
him,
knows?
maybe they let
Yep.
McDuffie to be the slot guy
Man,
going forward.
sad times.
That
maybe
would be a bummer.
Justin Reed gets
Yep.
gets more of the box and line snaps.
Well, and they're kind of rotational. I know Spagnuolo has stuck with Willie Gay and with Nick Bolton, and that's been great, but even that can change. Don't they have another rookie?
Leo Chenal, dude.
Yes, thank
Yep.
you.
That's scary.
It is, man.
Feels like there's a trap door for some of these guys.
Dude,
Even
genuinely.
on a defense we really like.
We could do the same show, and we could tell you about Nick Bolton and how he's a really good sell right now because he's like, was he LB1 or maybe 2 after Foyer, maybe even after Roquan as well.
I think he was LB3 in Big 3 scoring.
He was really high in a lot of leagues,
Yep.
and he could be seen as the same type category here for L'Jarius Sneed. I wonder where Bolton is in his contract also. That would be interesting
This
to
is
know.
it'll be his third year.
Going into
of
his
a
third
rookie
year.
deal.
He's a year behind Sneed.
And Nick Bolton, was he a first round pick?
I think he was in the second.
L'Jarius
so he would
Sneed
not have a 5th year option.
is 26. He was a 4th round pick out of La Tech. Shout out.
Shout out.
Sunbelt.
There we go.
For sure.
All right, boys, let's wrap up with a player who is actually designated as a cornerback by default on RSO. And Jake and Evan mentioned this. One of the things we love about RSO, they gave managers leagues the option to override the default positions. So we will be doing that this offseason. Macri has graciously agreed to figure out where these guys actually lined up for the majority of their snaps, and we'll be making some changes to get these guys properly designated. But you love Jalen Petre, Bobo, as the safety on most platforms, CB on RSO, finishing number 1 on the season amongst all DBs. Houston Texans, 99 solos, 48 assists.
It's 147 tackles, folks.
That's right.
Wow.
1 sack, 5 tackles for loss, 8 PBUs, 4 fumble recoveries, 5 INTs, 93% of snaps across 17 games played for 14.67 points per game. But Bobo,
Yeah.
thing I'm noticing here, these grades are pretty poopy
Yeah.
for PFF. 54.7 overall, 38.5 run defense, 32 tackle grade.
Yeah.
Did fine on pass rush and coverage, 70.6, 65.8. Petre feels secure, but that does raise my eyebrow at least a little bit.
Sell him. Petre's a cornerback 1, the safety 1, the DB 1, however you want to sell it. He's probably somebody who probably give you a second for him. Do that all day long.
I will say there was a lot of chatter on Twitter, Addy. Who's your IDP, MVP? I saw a lot of people asking that question. Jalen Petre was an answer I saw a lot in these Twitter streets.
Pretty hard to disagree, man. He was amazing. I mean, 147 tackles.
Yep.
As a rookie.
As a rookie.
Wow. When have we ever seen that?
With 2 other players.
Adoree Jackson was really good when the Titans drafted him.
147
Oh,
tackles.
no, he was pretty heavy on kick return
He was
stuff.
kick return.
I was going to say, with 2 other players, and I guess both Owens and especially Desmond King on the kick return stuff, but this dude had competition in that DB backfield.
Yeah, with no kick returns. Finishing
Yes,
like
exactly.
Pretty
no
impressive.
punt returns.
And he had some, some nice stats as well here. 5 tackles for loss, 8 PBUs, 4 fumble recoveries, and 5 picks. But make no mistake, this man made his living off the back of tackles, almost 150 total tackles. Now, here's the question, Addy. Do we worry that when the Texans get some more competent linebacker play, that maybe Petre is not as high up in the tackle totals?
Maybe so. But when is that going to happen? Is it going to happen next year? Probably not.
Probably not.
So I feel like he's pretty safe for a couple years there in Houston. But yeah, I mean, 42% of the snaps in the sweet spot. So I mean, nothing crazy. You know,
This is one of the lowest tackle grades we've seen.
It's pretty bad. It's one of the lowest grades, period.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think,
he
Addy?
made 147 of them. If he
So
can clean up the missed tackles, I mean,
My
maybe
God.
he can get.
How many did he leave on the
You
field?
have 384.
Yeah, like how many total tackles are we talking here if he cleans up that tackle grade?
Of his 17 games, 7 were under 10 points. 10 were over 10 points. He had 5 games over 20 points.
Y'all, he had the most missed tackles in the league.
Okay.
He had 19 missed tackles.
All right.
So you give him an extra 20, suddenly he's sitting at 100. Let's say he makes 15 of those
167.
tackles. So now he's sitting at
167.
167.
But he's a rookie.
That's right.
He did have 147 tackles. He did have 8 pass breakups. He did have 5 INTs. Is that right?
That's right.
Sacks too.
Yep, 1 sack,
He makes
4
plays.
fumble recoveries.
He makes
He's a
plays.
playmaker.
He's going to make mistakes. I mean,
Are you
he was,
Petre?
he was a second-round pick, right?
Are you Petre over Brisker?
No, I'm probably going Brisker. That's
I think I'm going Petre over Brisker, man.
wow.
Both teams are
Hey,
bad.
What a class. What a safety class.
Really turned out pretty nice, didn't it?
Yep.
Kyle Hamilton came
Isn't that
on at the
funny,
end of
though?
the season.
Petre, Brisker, and Hamilton.
Yeah.
The draft order was the opposite.
It was reversed, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, Hamilton we don't even see on this list.
Yeah.
We know you're probably going Brisker too
Yeah.
as well, Bobo,
yeah.
for your number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going Petre. Similar situations to me, both on bad teams.
Somebody would probably give you Brisker plus for Petre.
I think so.
Probably so.
People
Yeah.
would probably give you Hamilton plus for Petre.
Yeah.
That'd be a nice
Ooh,
little deal.
I would like that. The usage for Hamilton, I like to look for like what blew my mind when we do these episodes.
Somebody give you Hamilton in a third for Petre.
If somebody does, you
That's
need to
probably
take
rich.
that. You need to take that deal.
I feel like you get that.
And
I
thank
think
them.
you could, man. I think people are down on Keisean.
81% for K-Ham.
81% for Keisean.
That's crazy.
Huh.
But Petre, great season. especially if you had him as a cornerback. I think Lorne might have had Petre as a cornerback in our main league.
Wow.
Somebody did and profited from it all year because this guy was a league winner type.
Speaking of blowing your mind, this blew my mind. Tyrann Johnson this year played 99.3% of the snaps in the sweet spot.
Oh, my
It
God.
wasn't just slot, too. He played 38 on the line, 189 in the box, 1 at free safety, 735 at slot, 5 at corner.
Tyrann Johnson. Another
led-
one of your favorites.
Yeah. He had, I think, a career high in tackles, so that's probably why.
Goodness gracious.
Well, there you go, folks. The reality of the top 24 DBs from 2022. Gentlemen, I think the overall kind of consensus here is that, like we've been saying for a while now, don't get too hyped up on these DBs. Fade the position, take the values, and you're going to profit from that, Eddie.
And 2 people we didn't mention that I really, really like.
Yes, please.
There's probably more. But Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Oh, man.
Just
Beautiful.
He was a stud this year.
Absolute
and
stud.
he got hurt, and what was it, the appendix or something? Or did he had a weird injury.
He had a weird injury, yeah.
Something like that. And then Antoine Winfield, same type deal. Antoine Winfield was still a baller. Even though he got hurt, even though he probably had a down year compared to last year, still a baller, points per game wise, still a top 5 safety. Those are 2 guys that maybe you can buy now because they don't have this top 24 finish that everyone's going to be paying attention to.
There you go. It was Sam. Sam had Jalen Petre as a cornerback along with Sauce Gardner.
Cheat code.
So, shout out Sam.
Going to safety, though.
Definitely going
Sorry,
to safety, Sam. Sorry about that, bud. We will not get that cheat code position. So, any final thoughts here as we wrap up, gentlemen? Look at us coming in under 2 hours.
It's past midnight, though.
It is past midnight, and it is pouring rain. So we are going to be miserable going back to our cars and back to the house. But I hope you all enjoyed this episode. We have a very fun one coming up next week with our buddies Drew and Tyler. You have heard them on this show before. We're going to be doing a little buy, sell, hold for Dynasty. And the week after that, we will wrap up the Reality Check series with the top 24 linebackers. So there might be some other podcasts sleeping, but Bobby, we are making moves and bringing you the good old IDP content here as we kick off 2023.
That's what we're here for.
No days off, Eddie.
This is the best time of the year.
It's
in
fun.
my opinion. We have all the stats, all the data in front of us. We get to kind of review it and see what we believe in. And yeah, this is what it's all about. I mean, if you play Dynasty, there is no better podcast for you than the IDP show.
That's right.
The IDP show.
The IDP show. Did you say the IDP shit?
I don't know what I said.
I don't know what I said. We don't know where we are anymore, folks. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure you subscribe theidpshow.com. Consider becoming a paid supporter over there. Only $5 a month gets you access to Adam's rankings. If you haven't done it yet, leave us a 5-star rating and review over on Apple Podcasts and a 5-star rating on Spotify. It really helps us out. Share the podcast with your buddies. We really appreciate that word of mouth support. But until next week with Tyler and Drew, y'all take care, and we'll see you soon.
I'm happy. I'm happy like a peach in a tree. There I am hanging around hoping there'd be someone like you to pick me. I'm happy, oh happy Lord. I'm happy like the tree in the breeze. There I am a-waving to you, hoping that you'd sit by me.